Chapter 945. Really Dare to Leave. Chapter 945. Really Dare to Leave. Emo found a quiet place and set up a formation to check his loot. The ring was mostly filled with herbs, so he organized them and put into a separate ring. The slightly valuable herbs were sent to the Golden Page world. Large amounts of spirit stones, pills, and other magic spirit artifacts were stored together in piles. Other than the crocodile scissors and the flag, Emo was ready to sell the rest. As for ores, the most precious one was the vibrant sun true metal and a top-grade pilo of star sand. The Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator had 400,000 top-grade spirit stones, but what shocked Emo the most was that he had all sorts of spirit herbs that all together counted more than his. However, he simply had less valuable ones. Emo wouldn't have had so many precious spirit herbs if he hadn't gone to that Mist Valley. When he saw more than 170 spirit crystals, Emo immediately understood why this guy was so rich. He must have robbed a lot of the cultivators in the Spirit Marrow Pond. When he opened more storage rings inside the Golden Core State Peak Stage Cultivator's ring, he found 5 million top-grade spirit stones, 6 million middle-grade spirit stones, and only less than 3 million low-grade spirit stones. Emo was sure that this guy had been the wealthiest man amongst the Golden Core State cultivators. He put these things away and went out looking for more herbs casually. He knew that the place was about to close. There were still a few days left, so Emo made a few level 2 formation discs, including a defense formation and 4 attack formation. Emo wanted to make higher level ones, but his resources were limited. Moreover, it was much harder to make formation discs than building the formation. He knew he wasn't really in danger in there, but he would be when he got out. All of those cultivators who had paid him a toll, and that bitter-faced cultivator wanted to kill him. He wasn't concerned about that guy on his own, but feared what could happen if he had backup. A few thousand kilometers away from Emo, a bitter-faced cultivator had a bleak expression. Other than collecting herbs, he had a very important mission, and that was to kill Emo and take all of his belongings to Elder Fong of the Immortal Treasure Tower. Elder Fong believed that Emo had to have some secret to have been able to become #1 in the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame with such power. He had thought it was going to be a simple task, as he had planted large amounts of spirit sense marks on Emo. However, after going in, he hadn't been able to Emo, and he had even lost his minion, Chong. This easy task remained unfinished, and it made him very annoyed. He knew that if he didn't complete his mission, his value would greatly decrease in the eyes of Elder Fong. His time was almost up. Indeed, time was up. White lights flashed over the cultivators as they were teleported out. As soon as Emo came out, he saw a large crowd of people squeezing outside the valley. There were even more stalls now, and each with a sign for collecting spirit herbs and materials. Emo didn't dare to use 9 transformations. He was more scared of the black and the white masters he had avoided. They were hollow spirit state cultivators. Emo was certainly not staying there after seeing how many people there were. But as soon as he tried to run, he was surrounded by a group of very fervent merchants. "I'm the worker at the All-Spirit Hall. I'm from the Herb Cauldron sect. We will pay a high price for your herbs." After Emo finally squeezed out, a beautiful woman appeared before him. "Emo, I knew those people couldn't do anything to you. Indeed, you didn't disappoint me." Emo looked at Lu Yuedang and the 3 martial sisters behind her, and he secretly stayed alert. He said calmly, "I'm just making a profit from my hard work. If it hadn't been for me, you guys would have already died in that mist. But I'm sure you don't believe me." Emo had really helped these people. However, all of these guys wanted to kill him and rob his belongings. If Emo has known it was going to be like that from the start, he would have rather not make them pay the toll price. Lu Yuetang smiled, but she didn't answer Emo. Clearly, she thought that even if Emo hadn't repaired the formation, They could have still come out. Yi Mo said expressionlessly, I have no spirit herbs. If you want to attack me, then hurry up, or I'm going to leave. That Chi-Chi girl suddenly said, Martial Brother Yi, I believe you. Chi-Chi? You dash. Qin Mushin suddenly looked shockingly at Chi-Chi. They knew that she had the ability to tell if someone was lying or not. She could feel that Yi Mo was actually telling the truth. Chi-Chi continued, Martial Brother Yi, you've mistaken my martial sister. No one is allowed to fight after the Herb Valley opens. They have to wait until going outside. My martial sister just wants to invite you to our sect. Although we won't do anything to you, other people might. Yi Mo's spirit sense had already seen Jiziyuan, who was staring coldly at him, although he hadn't come for him yet. If Yi Mo left, Jiziyuan would chase him for sure. Yi Mo scanned his spirit sense out again and found that bitter-faced cultivator. He wasn't looking at him at that moment, but Yi Mo was sure that this guy was going to attack him. He had sensed the guy scan him with spirit sense more than once. Other than him, another cultivator was watching him. It was that Golden Core State Level 8 cultivator from the God Sword sect. Unexpectedly, while other people were just watching Yi Mo, the Dual Heart sect Zhiqiushui came up to Yi Mo and saluted him with his fists. Brother Yi, hello, I knew I would be able to see you soon. If you have time, you must visit the Dual Heart Valley. I highly respect Brother Yi, and I'm also grateful to you for saving my life. You don't harbor enmity towards me. Yi Mo looked strangely at Zhiqiushui. He had taken half of his herbs. Zhiqiushui laughed. I greatly admire Brother Ye's talent. Those mere herbs are nothing. Moreover, you've saved my life. Yi Mo was sure that this guy was being genuine, so he nodded. Okay, if I have time, I will go to the Dual Heart Valley for sure. Seeing this, Lu Yuetang approached him again and smiled. Brother Yi, you're indeed quite significant. Zhiqiushui is a prideful person. You took his herbs, but he still thinks so highly of you. Seeing that Yi Mo was getting impatient, Lu Yuetang smiled. Martial Brother Yi, our sect is genuinely inviting you over. If you leave now, that Jiziyuan won't let you go, but he doesn't dare to come to our sect. Even if you offend the Ghost Immortal sect, we won't fear them. Yi Mo was considering whether he should go with them. After all, Jiziyuan was from a 5-star sect. He wasn't going to be the only one hunting him down. However, Lu Yuetang's words clearly implied that they were doing him a favor. They were willing to go against the Ghost Immortal sect for him. If he went, he had to admit this as this favor. Qin Mushin heard this and sighed. She knew Yi Mo rather well. Her big martial sister hadn't even done anything for Yi Mo, yet she was already planning to make him pay back. Yi Mo could even reject her master. There was no way he would succumb to her. Indeed, Yi Mo sneered. Thank you, big martial sister, for your goodwill, but I don't need to be protected by your bunch. Goodbye. Then, Yi Mo darted into the sky with Zisu. Yi Mo didn't mean to look down on the women from her sect, but Lu Yuetang's intentions were too obvious. Lu Yuetang saw this and murmured, he really dares to leave. Chapter 946. Hunting Yi Mo. Chapter 946. Hunting Yi Mo? Guang Wei suddenly screamed before pulling Lu Yuetang's hand and saying desperately, Big martial sister, go help him. Jiziyuan also left, and it's not just him. Those people will be hunting him for sure. Qin Mushin also looked expectantly at Lu Yuetang. Lu Yuetang sighed. Master and company are already here. Let's go see them. Guang Wei. And the girls turned around and saw that their master and the elders from the sect had come, and they immediately knew it wouldn't be plausible to go help Yi Mo. As soon as Yi Mo flew away, he could feel Jiziyuan follow him. Other than him, there were 2 more fellows with him that Jiziyuan had probably called to help. Jiziyuan was at the Golden Core State Peak stage, and the other 2 were both Golden Core State tertiary stage cultivators. Even though Yi-Mo had formation discs, he couldn't kill 3 Golden Core State tertiary attackers. His formation discs were only ordinary level 2 discs in the first place. If he had a level 4 formation disc, Yi-Mo could easily kill all 3. Even if he had just a level 3 disc, he would be able to kill Ji Ziyuan. But the most important thing was the reality that Yi-Mo didn't have time to set up a level 3 formation, and that there were 3 of them. Feeling that Ji Ziyuan was getting closer and closer, Yi-Mo knew he had to make up his mind. Yi-Mo suddenly had a burst in speed. As Ji Ziyuan saw this, he sneered. No matter how fast Yi-Mo was, there was no way a mere Golden Core State level 1 could get away from him. Yi-Mo sped up, wanting to find a place to hide first. When Ji Ziyuan caught up, he would ambush them. As long as he could take out the 2 other guys, he was confident he could deal with Ji Ziyuan with his formation discs. But Yi-Mo didn't expect that just when he accelerated, a powerful cultivation essence would appear and quickly fly close to him. Yi-Mo's heart sunk. He knew there was no point in continuing to run, so he stopped. A man in his 50s appeared before Yi-Mo. This man was at the Golden Core State Peak stage and about to form his soul. He was no weaker than Ji Ziyuan, and perhaps even a little stronger. You're that pill concoction Hall of Fame #1, Yi-Mo. The man didn't seem to have the intention to attack Yi-Mo. Yi-Mo nodded, while Ji Ziyuan and his 2 companions arrived as well. But when they saw there was another person, they didn't speak and just subtly surrounded Yi-Mo and the man. In a brief moment, Ji Ziyuan seemed to have remembered who this man was. His face changed immediately, and he saluted with his fists. So, it's Elder Yen of the Immortal Treasure Tower. Why, might be worth your time to come here. Elder Yen. Yi-Mo heard this and thought, could this be Yen Zheng's support in the Immortal Treasure Tower? Thinking about this, he saluted with his fists. Qianbei, you perhaps know Yen Zheng? He had to know the relationship involved. The man smiled. Yes, I am Yen Jun. I've heard Zheng'er talk about you, but I didn't expect you to be at the Golden Core State primary stage already. Zheng'er has good eyes. We're both Golden Core State cultivators, so there's no need to call me Qianbei. Just call me Elder Yen. Yi-Mo rejoiced. Since this guy was related to Yen Zheng, he owed him. Yi-Mo had received 1 chance for Kong Yi to concoct pills for him, and he gave it to Yen Zheng. Yen Zheng would definitely have given it to Yen Jun. If that was the case, then Yen Jun owed him a favor. Yes, thank you, Elder Yen. Yi-Mo saluted with his fists. With Yen Jun's help, he was confident about killing the 2 Golden Core State Level 7 fellows first, and then come help Yen Jun kill Ji Ziyuan's face, meanwhile, looked bad. Clearly, Yen Jun was there to help Yi-Mo. Yen Jun then saluted with his fists to Ji Ziyuan. Dao friend Ji, although I don't know what conflict you have with Yi-Mo, please let it go on my account dash. Ji Ziyuan laughed as his face went cold. Elder Yen, this is the Ghost Immortal Sect's matter. I represent the Ghost Immortal Sect right now. Can you represent the Immortal Treasure Tower to fight with me? Hearing this, Yen Jun's face looked bad. He could barely keep his status in the Immortal Treasure Tower. How could he represent them? Yen Jun knew it would be suicide to fight the Ghost Immortal Sect with his Golden Core State Peak stage power. But Yi-Mo had given him something so valuable he couldn't not protect him at all. He thought about it for a while, and he realized that he couldn't intervene today. From Ji Ziyuan's killing intent, he could tell that even if Yi-Mo apologized, Ji Ziyuan wouldn't let him go. Moreover, he knew from Yen Zheng that Yi-Mo wasn't the type to apologize to Ji Ziyuan in the first place. In that instant, Yen Jun regretted coming. Seeing that Yen Jun's expression had turned sour, Yi-Mo knew what he was thinking and spoke up. Elder Yen, this has nothing to do with you. I don't think this Ji Ziyuan can do anything to me. Yen Jun said, I only represent myself, but I stopped Yi-Mo just now and let you guys catch up to him. Even if I don't help him, I can't stop him for you guys either. Now can I? Unexpectedly, Ji Xuan smiled and replied, "Thank you, Elder Yen. I won't let Elder Yen be such a person. I'll give him 30 seconds to run. I think you only stalled him for about 10 seconds, right?" Indeed. Yen Jun sighed in relief. He had been afraid that Ji Ziyuan wouldn't give him any face at all. He knew that 30 seconds was nothing, but it still gave him some face. "Yemo, I'm very embarrassed. This is all I can do to help you." "I'm sorry." Yen Jun turned around. Ji Ziyuan had a sneer on his face, but didn't talk. Yemo knew why Ji Ziyuan was sneering. It was because he had marked him with a spirit sense mark as soon as he got there. Yemo didn't feel bad about Yen Jun because he really didn't have the power to take on the Ghost Immortal sect. It was already quite nice that he had come out to help. He said to Yen Jun, "Thank you, Elder Yen, goodbye." Then he sped off on his sword. After Yemo left, Yen Jun only waited for 20 seconds before he left without saying anything to Ji Ziyuan. Then Ji Ziyuan left immediately too. Yemo simply used 10 seconds to run and another 10 to set up a formation base. He wanted to make it better, but he already felt Ji Ziyuan chasing over. Yemo was furious. This guy was full of lies. It hadn't even been 25 seconds yet. But Yemo had no choice but face the situation at hand. He didn't stay in the unfinished formation base. He went a few hundred meters back and cut off the spirit sense mark before hiding himself. As soon as Yemo hid himself, Ji Ziyuan arrived. He didn't even look at where Yemo was, and just shot his flying sword over. At the same time, Yemo moved too, not towards Ji Ziyuan, but for the 2 Golden Core State Level 7 cultivators behind him. Chapter 947. Eerie Sword Shadow. Chapter 947. Eerie Sword Shadow. The reason why Yemo didn't make a sneak attack on Ji Ziyuan was because he knew that with Ji Ziyuan's Golden Core State Peak Stage power, he would at most be able to only injure him. And even that was only a possibility. But it was different if he attacked the other two. Ji Ziyuan was attacking towards the Spirit Sense Mark location, so he wouldn't be able to save the 2 Golden Core State Level 7 cultivators in that instant. Secondly, those 2 were at most on par with Yemo in terms of cultivation essence. So Yemo should be able to successfully ambush them with a 90% certainty. Hence Yemo immediately acted. As his sword produced purple sword rays, Ji Ziyuan was stunned. He didn't think that Yemo would be able to find his spirit sense mark and use it to counterattack them. And he didn't have time to help. He didn't expect that Yemo would be so powerful either, nor did he expect him to be capable of hiding there without him noticing at all. How powerful was his stealth technique? He didn't think a mere Golden Core State Level 1 would be able to hide from his spirit sense. Splurge, countless purple sword rays enveloped the 2 Golden Core State Level 7 men from behind. Su sliced 1 Golden Core State cultivator in half through the waist, while the other one had purple sword rays pierced through his entire body. Just 1 strike, and 1 person had died, while the other was heavily injured. As Ji Ziyuan saw the bloody scene, his eyes were about to bulge in fury. He roared, and his flying sword instantaneously flew towards Yemo. Yemo wasn't going to fight Ji Ziyuan head-on right now. He immediately retreated inside his formation and laid down a few formation discs. Ji Ziyuan saw Yemo retreat and followed. He glanced at the level 2 formation discs Yemo threw out, and his fury disappeared. He regained his composure and spoke coldly. "You sure have got balls. You think you can stop me with a few level 2 formation discs? Pity I have to tell you, I was just going to kill you originally, but now you've truly angered me. I will kill every man in your Yi family, and as for the women, I will bring them to Broken Leaf City and comfort them nicely." Then he looked at Yemo and gnarled, "As for you, I don't want to kill you anymore. I happen to know a way of burning living souls. I will burn you for 100 years before killing you. Yi Mo's eyes went cold, and his killing intent rose drastically. He made up his mind that even if he had to die, he would kill Ji Ziyuan today. The more Yi Mo's killing intent burned, the calmer he grew. He threw out a few more formation flags and spoke coldly. Pity, I have to tell you that you won't have that chance. I swear that if the Ghost Immortal Sect dares to send more people after me, I will annihilate the sect. Ji Ziyuan actually got goosebumps from Yi Mo's cold threat. He knew that Yi Mo would be out to kill him already, but Yi Mo's words still made him want to kill Yi Mo faster. He knew that Yi Mo's cultivation was only at Golden Core State Level 1, but he wasn't any weaker than a Golden Core State Level 7 fighter. Ji Ziyuan waved his hand, and the flying sword that had been circulating above his head returned to his hands. Immediately his body turned cold. Yi Mo stared at the flying sword and felt there was something wrong with it. He couldn't tell what grade it was. It seemed only 30 centimeters long at first, but sometimes it was more. When he stopped looking at it for a moment, he could even sense that it was as if Ji Ziyuan wasn't holding a flying sword but an invisible killing intent. This flying sword was also just too thin. It was so thin that it was almost invisible. But with Yi Mo's spirit sense, he could confirm that the flying sword really existed. Yet when he tried to investigate it more carefully with his spirit sense, he couldn't see it clearly anymore. There was a bone-chilling eeriness about it. The chi that Ji Ziyuan and his flying sword emitted made Yi Mo become very careful. He knew that Ji Ziyuan couldn't be cultivating an ordinary cultivation method. Ji Ziyuan didn't move, but Yi Mo felt that the air around him seemed to have gotten darker and heavier. It began to have a rotten feeling, as though it came straight from hell. What cultivation method was this? The Ghost Immortal Sect cultivation methods, indeed, had some ghost elements to them. Yi Mo thought for a moment before slashing out with Sisu, not wanting to wait anymore. Illusion Cloud Division Strike. Countless sword rays were instantaneously activated, and in that instant, in a 10-meter radius, Yi Mo's purple sword rays swept over every inch. Ji Ziyuan was enveloped inside the sword rays, and that bleak chi seemed to get melted away by the purple sword rays. After sending out the attack, Yi Mo didn't even bother checking Ji Ziyuan's situation, as he knew that it would be impossible to kill Ji Ziyuan with only this, so he took out tens of other formation flags and dumped them all around him. He had set up the formation base of a level 3 formation by then. He just needed to finish it, and he had to buy as much time as he could for that. Pack, 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 pack. Yi Mo's purple sword rays were already getting shattered and dissipated in the air. What sword technique is this? Right after he had such a thought, Yi Mo suddenly felt a bleak killing intent that almost made him suffocate. Yi Mo was shook. It seemed it was suicidal of him to try to lay a formation after just sending out one attack. Yi Mo immediately activated 4 defensive formation discs and 2 attacking formation discs of his. Thud, thud, thud. Yi Mo was still forced to take a few steps back, and those Ike's formation discs were instantly broken. Their only use had been saving Yi Mo's life. If not for them, that strike would have killed him already. Yi Mo didn't keep throwing out formation flags. He knew that if he couldn't build the level 3 formation today, he would lose for sure, yet he just didn't have the time to finish it. Ji Ziyuan's sword technique was too strong. It was especially powerful because of how Yi Mo couldn't grasp the trajectory of the strike. Ji Ziyuan was much stronger than the Golden Core State Peak stage Yi Mo had killed in the Herb Valley. But suddenly, something even more shocking happened. He couldn't sense where Ji Ziyuan was anymore. Yi Mo felt cold sweat stream down his back as he spread his spirit sense out. However, Ji Ziyuan wasn't visible in his spirit sense either. This fellow was too strong. When he fought with him in the wooden house, he wasn't using his real power at all. Suddenly, Yi Mo felt a light breath and woke up because he could sense a cold killing intent pierce his soul. Yi Mo shivered. He had gotten confused in the middle of a battle. This Jiziyuan was too powerful. He had somehow sent Yi Mo into a daze in the middle of their battle. The killing intent was imminent. So without any time to think, Yi Mo flew tens of meters backwards and almost ended up outside of his formation base. Yi Mo felt some pain below his ribs as a deep gash had appeared. So powerful. Yi Mo ate a few pills and closed his eyes. If his sixth sense hadn't sensed the killing intent, he would have been cut in half through the waist already. The only thing he could use right now was the powerful sixth sense he had from cultivating the three-birth chant. Another soundless sword shadow passed by Yi Mo's chest. Even though Yi Mo was taking pills, his wounds weren't healing and instead started seeping some dark energy. Yi Mo grew calmer and calmer. It felt as if his formation was seeped with countless sword shadows, but when he closed his eyes, everything became clear. Yi Mo ignored his wounds and passed through the countless sword shadows. At the start, he was still getting cut, but after a while, he sustained less and less injuries. He could even sense Ji Ziyuan's position. Yi Mo was very calm. He had found a way to avoid the sword shadows, but now he still needed another method to kill Ji Ziyuan. Yi Mo stopped just trying to dodge the sword shadows, and he started to use the time in between strikes to set up his formation flags. Ji Ziyuan was surprised that Yi Mo could dodge for so long while only sustaining a few injuries. Chapter 948. Manipulating Swords with Will. Chapter 948. Manipulating swords with Will. Yi Mo threw out the last 3 flags and some extreme grade spirit stones before yelling, "Seal!" Instantly, the defense formation was set up and countless white rays flashed in front of their eyes. The place Yi Mo and Ji Ziyuan battled was no longer in open air. He had set the formation there, so now the place belonged to him. Yi Mo scanned with his spirit sense and saw Ji Ziyuan was hiding amongst his sword shadows. He looked dazedly at Yi Mo's formation and murmured after a long while, "A level 3 peak formation?" Yi Mo's spirit sense moved, and the countless sword shadows got swept away by the white light from Yi Mo's formation. Yi Mo let out a long breath. He had been passively getting hit before until he finished setting up his formation. This formation was his, and each formation flag had his spirit sense mark. Keep dreaming about using shadowless swords in this land. What Yi Mo didn't expect was that the formation he had set up was at almost peak stage since he had used extreme grade spirit stones, even though it was supposed to be level 3 primary stage. He took 2 more pills. Yi Mo still wasn't able to heal the wounds from before. This guy was too strong. He had seen quite a few Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivators, but in all honesty, he had never seen someone stronger than Ji Ziyuan. The guy definitely had a place in the Golden Core State Hall of Fame. You're a formation master indeed. Ji Ziyuan appeared again. His thin sword still hovered above him. Yi Mo released Zisu that brought about countless purple sword rays, yet they were different from before. These purple sword rays gathered around Yi Mo. Eventually, more and more appeared, forming a sea of purple. Yi Mo also started sweating. He knew that his purple sword rays wouldn't be able to damage Ji Ziyuan now. However, since he had his formation set up, he would keep gathering it and attack Ji Ziyuan all at once. Then, with the help of the formation and Shadowless, he didn't think this Ji Ziyuan could still survive. Wait. Unexpectedly, Ji Ziyuan suddenly told Yi Mo to stop. Your formation is good, but I'm sure you won't be able to do anything to me in the end. If you open the formation, I will leave, and we can end the conflict here. I'll even ignore the fact that you killed 2 of our Sex Golden Core State members. Even if I don't run away in the end, the Ghost Immortal Sect will know you have done it, and you will never be able to escape from us. Go die. Yi Mo sneered and shot thousands of purple sword rays at Ji Ziyuan. At the same time, he activated the formation and sent out Shadowless. Even if a 6, 7, 8, or even 9-star sect dared to threaten him, He would show no mercy, much less for a mere 5-star sect. Ji Ziyuan's expression changed. He hadn't thought Yi Mo didn't fear the Ghost Immortal sect at all, but he couldn't think that much for now. The thin sword above him also spewed out countless silver light rays. However, it was Yi Mo's formation, and he was in control of every corner. Ji Ziyuan's sword shadows could no longer injure Yi Mo. The instant he activated them, Yi Mo's formation shot white barriers that stopped the sword shadows. Yi Mo breathed easy. He had really felt threatened by Ji Ziyuan's sword technique. It was invisible, but still everywhere, and dangerously powerful. Ji Ziyuan's sword shadows suddenly changed. They went from barely visible to pressuring and fast like lightning. It shook the formation so much that it seemed like it was about to explode at any time. Yi Mo was shook. He could tell that this sword technique was far from what Ji Ziyuan had showed him before. If he hadn't used extreme grade spirit stones, the formation might have been broken already. Thinking about it, Yi Mo quickly swept down more purple sword rays, grabbed Zissou, and hacked down. He couldn't allow Ji Ziyuan to keep using cultivation essence to attack his formation. Thud, thud, Yi Mo's purple sword rays clashed onto a pot lid-like shield that Ji Ziyuan had set up. Ji Ziyuan was spitting out mouthfuls of blood, but the sword ray eventually stopped. The purple sword rays were strong, but they didn't seem to have much effect against the pot lid shield. Yi Mo didn't dare to hesitate. He had already activated the illusion cloud exert, will sword. In the past, he had activated countless sword rays with this move and controlled them with his will. However, this time, Yi Mo didn't control any of the sword rays. He just closed his eyes and hacked. He hacked the place he felt was the best. If someone else had seen this, they wouldn't have been able to understand, as Yi Mo was hitting the center of the shield, which was also the strongest part of the shield. However, the only difference was that Yi Mo's sword was slanted. Ji Ziyuan didn't understand either why Yi Mo was attacking like this, so he sneered. Yi Mo was either competing on cultivation essence with him, or he had great faith in his kitchen knife. A mere golden core state, level 1 cultivator dared to compete on cultivation essence with him when he was using a middle-grade spirit artifact. This was underestimating him too much. The next moment, Zissou hacked the shield. Crack, the sound pierced Ji Ziyuan's eardrums. How could hear such noise? Yi Mo's Zissou had cut his shield like tofu and then pierced his chest. It had instantly found the weakest point in his spirit artifact, and it had managed to break it by destroying its internal structure. Ji Ziyuan looked at his broken spirit artifact in disbelief. How was this possible? Any magic artifact had a weakest part. The better the magic artifact, the smaller the Achilles tendon. But for cultivators, that didn't matter, because only they could tell the weakest part through spirit control. Other people wouldn't be able to know. Even if they did know, if the amount of cultivation essence they attacked the magic artifact with couldn't resonate with the magic artifact's internal structure, it wouldn't be able to hurt the magic artifact either. However, Yi Mo had found its weak spot, had managed to grasp the spirit artifact structure, and broke it in half. Yi Mo used this opportunity to shoot the illusion cloud whirlpool strike and release Shadowless. The instant Ji Ziyuan's essence blood was being devoured by Shadowless, he saw Yi Mo's purple sword again. He was scared to the bone. Splurge, a blood mist erupted, and Ji Ziyuan got surrounded by Yi Mo's illusion cloud whirlpool strike. After Shadowless devoured Ji Ziyuan's golden core, Yi Mo didn't let Shadowless keep devouring Ji Ziyuan's meridians. He summoned Shadowless back and put away his formation flags. He also placed the thin sword into his golden page world. Yi Mo rejoiced, partly because he had defeated Ji Ziyuan, but mostly because he had found the feeling of controlling sword with will. Ji Ziyuan looked at Yi Mo with soulless eyes, murmuring something. Yi Mo, then sneered to Jizyuan. How does your flying sword's damage heal? Tell me, and I'll give you a quick death. Or else, just like you said, I will burn your soul. Jizyuan shivered. His eyes suddenly turned bleak again. You're finished. Even if you run through the entire North Far State, you won't escape the rage of the Ghost Immortal Sect. Mo slapped him in the face. Are you going to tell me or not? Keep dreaming, Jizyuan sneered. He believed that even if Mo killed him, he couldn't stop him from using his secret technique to escape in a soul state. He could still become a ghost cultivator. Time was very important for Mo. He took out a 5-color flag and said, since you won't tell me, you don't need to anymore. A 5-color soul-devouring flag. Jizyuan's face changed drastically. Chapter 949. River State has changed. Chapter 949. River State has changed. Jizyuan knew that no matter how strong his secret technique was, there was no way he could escape from the 5-colored soul-devouring flag. However, just when he was about to beg for mercy, the 5-colored flag had already swept down. After the 5 colors faded away, Jizyuan no longer showed any signs of life. His soul had been taken away by the flag. Mo admired how powerful the flag was. Yet Mo really didn't like that bleak, ghastly flag, but it was the best means for people like Jizyuan. The reason Mo didn't dare to waste time talking to Jizyuan was because he knew he was already at a very dangerous position. He needed to go back immediately, return to River State, and take everyone away. After taking Jizyuan's ring, he found that one of the 2 golden core state cultivators was gone. It was the one he had heavily injured. In his desperation, Mo couldn't care about anything anymore. He burned the 2 bodies and left the place as fast as he could on Zisu. On the way, Mo forcefully suppressed his wounds with cultivation essence and didn't dare to linger at all. He didn't have time for recovery. He had to get back to River State as quickly as possible. If he had been by himself, he could have found a safe place to go into the Golden Page world and slowly recover, but it was too easy for the Ghost Immortal Sect to find out where his base was. Hence, he had to get to River State before the Ghost Immortal Sect put up a wanted order. About half an hour after Mo left, 2 cultivators appeared where he had fought with Jizyuan. Their faces were very bleak. One had a short figure, but the other one was very tall. If Mo knew, he would have rejoiced to have left early because both of these cultivators were at nascent soul state. One was even at nascent soul state tertiary stage. It's here. Jizyuan was killed here, and his soul was taken away, the tall nascent soul state cultivator said with a calm tone, but the fury was spurring out of his eyes. The short nascent soul state cultivator laughed like a crow. Such an evil guy. He has a magic artifact for taking alive souls. How dare he take souls from the Ghost Immortal Sect? This person shouldn't be very far. Let me find his chi, then. The short nascent soul state cultivator took out a disc-like magic artifact. A while later, his frown had grown deeper and deeper. What's wrong? The tall cultivator asked. The short cultivator shook his head and said, there's marks of a formation here. This person used a formation to kill Jizyuan and the others. Clearly, he's not at nascent soul state. But how can a mere golden core state cultivator's stealth cultivation method be this powerful? I can't find any useful information. After Mo removed all of the evidence, he focused on running. He didn't even look at Jizyuan's storage ring and just threw it into the Golden Page world. Mo was going to fly to Broken Leaf City first and take the teleportation formation, yet Mo didn't dare to go there first. He flew for a few days and arrived to Luo Shan City. Then, Mo took the teleportation formation from there to Sharp City. Although Mo was many times faster than when he had first gone there, he still arrived at River State City 7 days later. If he hadn't wasted time getting out of the Herb Valley, he would have arrived at River State in less than 2 days. However, Yi Mo knew that if he went back to the Broken Leaf City, he might never be able to leave. Yi Mo changed his face and walked into the city, mixing with the crowd. The city was much less populated than before. Yi Mo scanned his spirit sense to China Pharmaceuticals immediately. When he saw that China Pharmaceuticals was in ruins, his limbs went cold. He could feel his body trembling. The bleak qi from his wounds broke free of his cultivation essence and made him shiver. The thing he worried for the most had happened. China Pharmaceuticals had been annihilated. What happened to Yiling, Song Yangzhu, and the others? Who had done this? The Ghost Immortal Sect? The All-Pill Tower? But the high powers at River State for them were at nascent soul state. How could have they fought China Pharmaceuticals with Li Yuqian there? Yi Mo scanned the scene. He could tell there had been a big battle there. The place was surrounded with a formation. If someone went in there, it would activate the formation. Friend, are you okay? Yi Mo was wiping his sweat, and someone asked. Yi Mo hadn't expected there to be such kind-hearted people in the cultivation realm. He shook his head and said, I'm fine. It's just some old wounds. Yi Mo was aware that his face was probably looking very pale at the moment. It would show it despite him wearing 9 transformations. It was a qi-gathering state cultivator who was asking, and he was about to leave. But Yi Mo stopped him and asked, Dao friend, I heard China Pharmaceuticals' pills are very good, so I came here just for them. How come I don't see China Pharmaceuticals? The cultivator looked around worriedly, and then pulled Yi Mo to the side. Friend, you must not be from here. You must not mention China Pharmaceuticals. Why? Yi Mo was shaking. His hands were bleeding from his clench, but he still asked, I heard China Pharmaceuticals offended the all-pill sect. They were relying on the Immortal Treasure Tower for support, but for some reason, 2 months ago, they suddenly came to look for trouble with China Pharmaceuticals as well. At this time, the branch owner of the all-pill tower, Lu Jiuqing, reached nascent soul state. So he joined forces with the Immortal Treasure Tower to annihilate China Pharmaceuticals. Then what happened? Yi Mo's voice was shaky. The cultivator said quietly, however, China Pharmaceuticals had a nascent soul state cultivator and a golden core state cultivator that had somehow forcefully reached golden core state peak stage. There was a large battle, and quite some people from the Immortal Treasure Tower and the All-Pill Tower died. Yi Mo asked desperately, did the people from China Pharmaceuticals get away? The cultivator shook his head. That I don't know, but China Pharmaceuticals lost a few people too. Suddenly, the cultivator realized that the person he was talking to was gone. He must have met some master. That guy was so worried about China Pharmaceuticals. Perhaps he belonged there too. Thinking about this, the cultivator quickly left. The first thing Yi Mo did after leaving was getting to the teleportation formation he had set up. When he went into the valley, he saw that his stealth formation was perfectly running, and so was the teleportation formation. Had they not closed it, Yi Mo charged into the teleportation formation. When he saw the activated teleportation formation, he finally breathed a little easier. It seemed they eventually had used it. Yi Mo wasn't too worried now. The teleportation distance was more than 100,000 kilometers. Even a hollow spirit state cultivator wouldn't be able to scan that far with spirit sense. There was a jade card on the teleportation formation. Yi Mo recognized it to be Song Yangzhu's handwriting. Husband, I'm fine. Yi Ling and Sister Zhen were injured. So was Master, but don't worry. Su Yu and Sheng Yizhong are fine. However, Sun Jitsai and a few of China Pharmaceuticals' people weren't able to come together. If it hadn't been for your teleportation formation, none of us would have been able to get away. We took all of your pills, don't worry. Master said we can't stay here for long. We went to Pei High City. Hurry up and come meet up with us. Yangzhu, Yi Mo, breathe easy. They had been injured, but it was fine as long as they were alive. It had been such a wise decision for him to leave behind this teleportation formation. Peihai City was a big city next to the Heartless Sea. Due to this, there were lots of cultivation resources. Many solo cultivators and sect members would go there for training and resources. However, there were a lot of dangers there too. Chapter 950, A Step of Progress. Chapter 950, A Step of Progress. Although Yi Mo wanted to meet up with Song Yongzhu and company immediately, he didn't follow his impulses. His wounds weren't healed yet. He had to heal up first. Peihai City was out of North Far State. It was tens of millions of kilometers away from River State City. If he just went there without a plan, he wouldn't be able to get there fast, and he might even get hunted by the Ghost Immortal sect. He knew he had to calm down. Although China Pharmaceuticals' destruction had nothing to do with the Ghost Immortal sect, that was because they weren't there yet. If they had been the ones to come, Li Yuqian and the others wouldn't have been able to get away even if they had the teleportation formation. As for the Immortal Treasure Tower, he hadn't defended them. Instead, he had helped them out greatly. He really didn't understand why they were creating enmity with him. Still, he was sure that although the All-Pill Tower and Immortal Treasure Tower had attacked him, it mustn't have been the higher-ups' decision. People in the lower ranks were probably responsible. The most they could send were nascent soul state cultivators. That explained why it had been so long already, and they still hadn't found the location of the flying sword. But the Ghost Immortal sect was different. They were a 5-star sect, and would be able to find the location through the rubbles of the teleportation formation. They didn't know Chinese, but who knew if they wouldn't find someone who knew Chinese? There were so many people from the small world coming in here, it really wasn't hard to find someone who knew Chinese. Thinking about this, Yi Mo was scared. He had to remind Song Yongzhu about this later. Luckily, he had arrived first. If the Ghost Immortal sect had come first, their whereabouts would have been exposed. Yi Mo took out a map of North Far State and found Peihai City on it. This was the most southern place of North Far State. Yi Mo then looked up the westernmost city of North Far State, Xiashan City too. It was also near the Heartless Sea, and it was also a big city. Yi Mo took out a jade card, copied Song Yongzhu's words, and wrote her message anew, but he changed the destination to Xiashan City. Then he placed the card in the same spot he'd found Yamzu's jade card, and set up a hidden surveillance formation. But after doing all that, Yi Mo realized his plan wasn't good. If they found the teleportation formation, it would mean that they had a formation master with them. Setting this up would still give a master like that some clues. Thinking about this, Yi Mo took out a camera. He had received it from Huang Mei when he was hunting the Northern Sand King. Yi Mo put the camera in a corner, placed a surveillance formation next to the camera, and finally left the place. Yi Mo was sure that no matter how good his opponents were, they wouldn't know about cameras. Nor would they search the camera with spirit sense. Yi Mo left and didn't go very far. He found a valley and went into the earth before then entering the Golden Page world. He needed to recover. That was the most important thing. Then he would have to go find secret lands in the All-Herb Mountain ranges, and then he would go to Peihai City. Yi Mo had been so focused on running before that only now that he actually looked at his wounds carefully did he realize how scary they were. Yi Mo had been suppressing the wounds with his cultivation essence at first, but the bleak qi had already started invading his meridians. He didn't even know about it. If he had kept going to Peihai City without stopping to recover, that bleak qi might have completely changed his body and turned him into an emotionless puppet. Realizing this, Yi Mo just jumped into the spirit marrow pond as he held 2 spirit crystals to start his recovery. Inside the Golden Page world, Yi Mo formed a hugged spirit qi whirlpool. As he kept devouring the spirit marrow, the bleak qi was gradually refined. Yi Mo slowly got completely covered by mist, and then suddenly winter's arrival created a huge suction force, absorbing the white mist. Yi Mo felt that winter's arrival became even colder after doing that, and he rejoiced immediately. Ever since acquiring the mist lotus heart fire, winter's arrival had been of little use. Yi Mo didn't expect that winter's arrival would be able to devour other bleak chi. Yi Mo estimated that it had taken him a few days, but he had finally completely eradicated the bleak chi. His power had also risen to the peak of Golden Core State Level 1, due to all the spirit chi he'd absorbed. Yi Mo was about to break through, so he took out 2 more spirit crystals. Now that all the wounds were gone, all the spirit chi turned into his own cultivation essence. Crack, Yi Mo felt his cultivation essence burst again and start flowing all over his meridians and back to his dantian. Golden Core State Level 2. Yi Mo was happy. He didn't expect to only use 2 months to break through and have such powerful cultivation essence at Golden Core State Level 2, seeing that a small half of the spirit marrow pond was gone. Though, Yi Mo sighed. He broke through fast, but he also used huge amounts of resources. Even a 9-star sect wouldn't be able to supply his cultivation resources. Yi Mo suspected that even after he used up all his spirit marrow and spirit crystals, he wouldn't be able to break through from Golden Core State Level 3 to Level 4, even in 100 years if he tried doing it by just absorbing ordinary spirit chi. But as Yi Mo looked at the huge spirit range in the Golden Page world, he felt a little comfortable. He had an entire spirit range to himself. Power meant everything to him right now, so what he feared was slow progress. He needed power to go to the 9-star sects and find Luo Ying, Ning Qingxue, and the others. He needed power to protect Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling. He had also offended 2 hollow spirit state masters, the Ghost Immortal sect, as well as the person from whom he took the spirit range. Yi Mo didn't keep cultivating in the spirit marrow pond anymore. He instead moved to the spirit range and enforced the spirit gathering formation. According to Yi Mo's plans, after he went to Peihai City, he wouldn't be coming back anymore. He would take Song Yangzhu and the others to the South Peace State. Hence, he wanted to go take a look at the All-Herb Mountain ranges before he left. Ever since getting that rusty sword, he had never gone there to see what was in that ancient ruin. Suddenly, 2 cultivators appeared in his surveillance formation. One tall, one short. Their matchup was quite funny, but Yi Mo didn't find it funny at all, as both of them were nascent soul state cultivators. Yi Mo wasn't sure if they were nascent soul state tertiary stage, but from the looks of it, they weren't weak for sure. Yi Mo could tell they were from the Ghost Immortal sect from their outfits. So close, Yi Mo murmured. The tall cultivator looked around and found the jade card. It seems that Yi Mo hasn't been here yet. Should we keep waiting or go to Xia Shan City? The short cultivator looked at the jade card and said, "No need to wait, he's just a Golden Core State Level 1 shrimp. He will need at least half a month to come here without a teleportation formation." Ji Hong said he's a meticulous guy. He's very cunning and careful. He might not come here even if we wait here in the first place. Let's just directly go to Xia Shan City. Leave the jade card as it is. The tall cultivator clapped. Good idea. We can just wait for him there. If he doesn't come, we'll capture that Yangzhu, and then he'll come for sure. Chapter 951. Enemies Meet Again. Chapter 951. Enemies meet again. Yi Mo watched the 2 leave and waited another day before carefully packing his things. He then took that jade card and finally left. He could rest easy at last. Having directed the Ghost Immortal Sect Fellows to Xia Shan City, Li Yuqian and company lost a big enemy. Yi Mo really wanted to go to Peihai City now, but he knew he had to increase his power at all costs. Although he was at Golden Core State Level 2, and he wouldn't fear even a Golden Core State Level 8 in battle, he had too many enemies, and every single one of them was much stronger than him. So he chose to go to the All-Herb Mountain ranges. The All-Herb Mountain ranges were boundless. They formed one of the 10 big mountain ranges of the North Far State. This had always been a trial ground for low-level members of sections. Yi Mo obtained the Rainbow Golden Lotus therein. He passed and had reached the Foundation Establishment State there. This was also the place he killed Li Belan. Without the flying pike, it was very inconvenient for Yi Mo. Although Zisu was also very fast, Yi Mo felt the flying pike saved a lot of time and effort. He had made up his mind to buy a good flying magic artifact after getting to a big city. Many days later, Yi Mo was back in the All-Herb mountain ranges. Although there had always been a lot of low-level sect members there doing trials, most of the area remained unsearched. The map Yi Mo had gotten was of the depths of the All-Herb mountain ranges. After getting there, Yi Mo used 3 days while avoiding many level 5 beasts to get to the spot that was marked on the map. Yi Mo believed that he currently didn't have to fear ordinary level 5 beasts, but if they fought, it would cause too much commotion. The spirit chi there was dense, but Yi Mo thought that since it was a ruin he was looking for, the spirit chi around it should be even denser. Yet when Yi Mo got to the place on the map, it was as if he were in the wilderness. There was nothing but naked rocks and peaks. The entrance should be at the edge of a huge stalagmite, according to the map. Yi Mo was just about to check it when he felt cultivation essence waves appear in his spirit sense area. Someone was there? Yi Mo immediately noticed 4 cultivators, and all of them were more powerful than him. Without hesitation, Yi Mo hid himself. The 4 were all at the Golden Core State, so they were soon there. They also seemed to be looking for something. There were 3 men and 1 woman. The woman looked young, but cold. She was very pretty, and her long hair was curled to the top. She was at least at Golden Core State Level 7. Out of the 2 men in front of her, one was very handsome. Yi Mo was shocked to see that he actually knew the man. He was the city lord of River State City, Zhang Chengfeng. Yi Mo despised this hypocrite, who took his pill, yet did nothing for him. When Yi Mo first saw him, he was at Golden Core State Level 6, but now he was at Golden Core State Level 7. The frontmost man looked innocent and genuine. He was at Golden Core State Level 8, but Yi Mo couldn't see anything special about him. Yi Mo could feel his arrogance, though. Clearly, he was the leader in his eyes. Yet Yi Mo had the strange feeling that this man wasn't as dangerous as the old man at the end. That old man had a slouch back and was also at Golden Core State Level 8, but Yi Mo felt he was the scariest. They were all Golden Core State tertiary stage cultivators. No one was at the Golden Core State peak stage or middle stage. Just when Yi Mo was confused about why they were there, Zhang Chengfeng asked, "Brother Fei, we've been searching for 5 days, and we've pretty much looked through the whole area. Did you maybe remember wrongly?" The honest-looking man replied calmly, "I didn't remember wrongly. I found out about this unintentionally. The fellow that was acting against me ran from the market and killed a Foundation Establishment State cultivator called Gu Yuhua. He robbed from him a 9-crevice sword and the map of an ancient ruin. The map was of the All-Herb ranges, but that young man just isn't here yet. But we've been looking for so long. Would the person you got the information from have remembered poorly?" the cold-looking woman suddenly asked. "No, he's Gu Yuhua's brother, and he's only at the Qi-gathering state. I searched his soul, so I'm sure he didn't lie," the man called Fei said. Yi Mo had already realized who this Fei was. He was the person who tried to fight over the stone stool with him at Nanshan Market, Hidden Sword Sect's Fei Zijiang. Yi Mo was surprised to see that he looked like an innocent guy. One really can't judge a book by its cover. Since it was Fei Zijiang, Yi Mo knew why he could find out about him having taken the map and key. Luckily, Yi Mo had put on 9 transformations. Otherwise, he would have been caught by him. Hearing this, no one else said anything, and they just kept looking. If it wasn't for this Fei Zijiang, it would be fine if these people left, but Yi Mo really wanted to kill Fei Zijiang. Just when Yi Mo was hesitating, the old man suddenly looked at the big stalagmite and said, "There's a hidden formation under there. Let me open it and see." They had found the place, but Mo wasn't worried. The four might have found the place, but clearly didn't have the key. Haha, there's a hidden formation here indeed. It seems Brother Luo found the right person. Who else would set a formation here? Zhang Chengfeng laughed as he hacked out with his sword. Immediately the hidden formation disappeared, and a stone door was revealed. A space formation portal, the old man yelled in excitement. It really is a space formation portal. We're rich, ha ha ha. Fei Zizheng laughed in a hysteric way, which really mismatched his innocent-looking face. Even the woman and Zhang Chengfeng were excited. What do we do now? Zhang Chengfeng was the first to calm down. Fei Zizheng stopped his hysterical laughter too and said, "Brother Luo, set up a hidden formation outside the space formation portal. And let's go in first." The old man nodded and started throwing out formation flags. 15 minutes later, a new hidden formation was set up, and the four of them as well as the door disappeared from Mo's sight. When Mo was sure they should be thoroughly inside, he got up. A space formation portal was very hard to set up, so why was it covered by such a simple hiding formation? There were a lot of dubious points about it, but Mo didn't want to waste time. The old man's formation was barely level 3, so it was not bad, but it was far from enough to stop Mo went inside and took out some formation flags of his own, setting a trap formation outside the hidden formation before going in. Chapter 952. Enticing Ruins. Chapter 952. Enticing ruins. After going into the space formation, a long set of stairs appeared before Mo. Mo carefully sent his spirit sense down, but he found that the four people before him had disappeared. Clearly, something inside was blocking his spirit sense. Mo walked for about 1 kilometer down the stairs, and his spirit sense scanned those 4 cultivators again. They had stopped at a spacious hall in the shape of a hexagon. There were illumination formations all around the hall. Although it had been many years, These's illumination formations could still consume spirit chi. Mo suddenly realized why. There was a lack of spirit chi there. There were so many formations there, and all of them devoured spirit chi from nearby. After countless years, of course there would be a lack of spirit chi. The reason the group had stopped in this huge hall was because there was nothing else here except a huge sword-shaped rink in the center of the hall. Mo looked at it and realized that the shape matched his sword. It seemed those 2 Foundation establishment state cultivators were right. The big sword he had gotten was the key. No door, nor any place to go. What do we do? Zhang Chengfeng looked at the empty hall and asked. Fei Zizheng glanced around and said, "That guy took the 9-chip sword, and that's the key. Although we found this place, we can't go in without the key." Zhang Chengfeng suddenly took out a flying sword and attacked the wall. There was just a low thud, but Zhang Chengfeng's flying sword didn't do any damage to the wall. There wasn't even a spark. There's no way you can force your way into there. Even a nascent soul state cultivator wouldn't be able to do that, probably, the old man Luo said. Fei Zizheng's innocent-looking face spasmed. He really couldn't accept not being able to go into a treasure mountain. He was burning with anger. "Brother Luo, didn't you say you could enter through the formation? Do you have news of the cultivator who stole the sword?" the cold-looking woman shadowlessly asked. Fei Zizheng shook his head. "No, after I found out about this ruin, I found Dao friend Luo. And then I told you guys. This formation needs 4 golden core state cultivators to form it. Brother Luo, regardless of the situation, let's do what we planned before and set up a formation." The woman shook her head and said, "I don't think ordinary formations will have any effect on this hall. Brother Luo can set up a level 3 formation at most. I don't think it's possible to shake this hall at all without a level 4 or above formation. Even though, since we're here, we need to try. If it doesn't work out, then we'll investigate the whereabouts of that kid." Zhang Chengfeng intervened. Fei Xijang suddenly regretted it now. He should have found that cultivator first and come here himself. If in the end that old man Luo couldn't break the formation, then he would be losing too much. Not only would he not be getting anything, but also would he be exposing an ancient ruin. The old man nodded at Zhang Qingfeng's words. He took out formation flags, which he set up around the sword-shaped rink. Yi Mo could tell that the old man was setting up a 4-division position-breaking formation. This formation could use the power of 4 golden core state cultivators to blast this hall. However, when Yi Mo saw the old man set up another hidden blood sacrifice formation on the outside of the formation, he immediately realized this old man had ill intentions. Indeed, the old man said, the 4 divisions position-breaking formation needs essence blood as a lead. We'll prepare a drop of essence blood each and drop it into the heart of the formation. Yi Mo sneered. The blood sacrifice formation needed essence blood as a lead. Once the cultivator dropped his essence blood, the formation could suck the essence blood of the cultivator to supply itself with energy. Then, the old man dropped a drop of his essence blood on the formation's heart. Seeing this, the other 3 didn't think much, and they all did the same. When he saw they followed his words, there was a sliver of joy at the corner of the old man's eyes. Yet it soon disappeared. Okay, let's stand on one corner of the formation each. Then, the old man took the Zheng position. Zhang Qingfeng was the closest to the Zheng position, but he could only stand on the Qin position. The woman took the Dui position without hesitation. Fei Xijang could only stand on the Li position. The Li was closest to the wall of the hall. However, Fei Xijang felt strange, as though something was wrong, but he couldn't tell exactly what it was. Just when he was still thinking, the old man said, I'm going to activate the formation. Insert your cultivation essence into the formation. Don't stop. The more cultivation essence, the stronger the formation. Then, the old man threw a formation flag and started to insert cultivation essence. The formation emitted a faint yellow light. The remaining 3 realized that the formation had been activated, so they started to insert their cultivation essence too. Thud, the formation started to inflate like a balloon. Rumble, the formation got activated. A powerful explosive energy charged out of the formation into the sword-shaped rink. The hall started to shake. Was the formation actually useful? However, Yi Mo immediately understood that the ancient ruin had been here for countless years, and many of the defense formations had started to loosen up. The old man kept throwing formation flags as blasts of explosive energy charged at the wall. Fei Xijang was the closest to the energy blasts, and his clothes were already messy. If it went on, he was going to get heavily injured or even killed. He quickly said, Brother Luo, stop. I can't stand here anymore. I need some rest. The old man smiled. Dao friend Fei, don't worry. It will be fine soon. Just hold on a little longer. The impacts on the woman and Zhang Qingfeng's positions weren't as big as Fei Xijang's, but there were still some. Rumble, a huge energy blow shook Fei Xijang as he spat blood. Luo Yuping, what did you do? Why does this formation keep draining my cultivation essence? Why can't I stop? Fei Xijang finally realized something was wrong. The old man acted as though he hadn't heard this, and he just kept throwing formation flags inside. Luo Yuping, this bastard wants to have the ruin all to himself. Fei Xijang shrieked. Needless to say, the woman and Zhang Qingfeng had already realized this. They had both fallen into Luo Yuping's trap. Zhang Qingfeng called out, Luo, are you trying to take up on us 3 at the same time? Hurry up and stop, or don't blame me for the consequences. The woman didn't speak, as though she was trying to activate something. Yi Mo sneered. These people didn't understand the power of a blood sacrifice formation. Devouring their cultivation essence was just the beginning. After a certain stage, the formation would devour their essence blood. But Yi Mo had no intentions of doing anything. Even if they didn't need to use the key and Luo Yuping broke in with the formation, he wasn't worried. Rumble, rumble, more explosions sounded. Yi Mo could feel the ground beneath him starting to shake. The old man's face was full of worry and concentration. Fei Zijiang spat mouthfuls of blood and shouted, "Luo Yuping, you treacherous bastard! The hidden sword sect won't let you go. AR," he suddenly howled. "Luo Yuping, you dare suck my essence blood?" Zhang Qingfeng and the woman's faces also went pale. They were feeling the same. The woman suddenly took out a rune and spat blood at it. Luo Yuping saw this, and his expression changed drastically. He quickly threw many formation flags. Yet the rune had turned into a huge whirlpool, and it swept the woman away. A level 8 space mobility rune. The rune was worth a fortune. Yi Mo hadn't expected that a golden core state cultivator would have this sort of rune. Clearly, she was no simple character. With her escape, the place would soon be no secret. Yi Mo had to quickly search this place and leave. Chapter 953. Using a trap formation against Yi Mo. Chapter 953. Using a trap formation against Yi Mo after the woman escaped, Luo Yuping spat a mouthful of blood. Zhang Qingfeng also ran out from the formation too, but he didn't have the power to fight with Luo Yuping. Fei Zijiang was paralyzed on the ground without the energy to resist. Luo Yuping looked at the unopened rink with a sliver of annoyance. He took out a huge sword and walked to Zhang Qingfeng. Zhang Qingfeng saw this. His face was full of fear. He said shakily, "Brother Luo, don't do this. I'm willing to go, let it go. Please take whatever you want from my storage ring." Luo Yuping shook his head. "You idiot. If you hadn't held back your strength at the beginning, I would have broken this wall already. Leaving a trash like you behind is a disaster anyway. Die. Don't. Zhou Yushuang already got away. If you kill me, the Zhang family will know for sure," Zhang Qingfeng begged. "Who is it?" Luo Yuping ignored Zhang Qingfeng and looked at Yi Mo, who had walked out of the shadows. When he saw that Yi Mo was only at Golden Core State Level 2, his face was full of surprise. He couldn't help saying, "You're a mere Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator? How did you avoid my spirit sense?" Luo Yuping noticed that the cultivator who had appeared was only at Golden Core State Level 2, but he didn't seem worried at all. He didn't dare to go up and attack. Yi Mo was capable of avoiding all of their spirit senses and follow them there. This meant that he was no ordinary cultivator. Moreover, he had used up a lot of cultivation essence too. Before Yi Mo could talk, Zhang Qingfeng called out in joy, "Brother Yi, I didn't think you would be here too. You even reached Golden Core State. Brother Yi, I'm Zhang Qingfeng, please save me." Yi Mo glanced at Zhang Qingfeng and said plainly, "So it's City Lord Zhang. What a coincidence." Yes, Brother Yi, we're both from River State City. Please save me." Zhang Qingfeng showed a fawning smile and said desperately. He had lost too much essence blood. He wasn't even as strong as a qi-gathering peak stage cultivator at that moment. Luo Yuping's eyes spun and said, "So it's Dao Friendji. If Dao Friendji is Brother Zhang's friend, I will let him go." Yes. I'm friends with Yi Mo, very good friends. When Brother Yi opened a shop in River State, I went there." Zhang Qingfeng called out in desperation. Yi Mo shook his head. "What a waste of good looks. Your face is too thick. I had just opened my shop then, and you took a face-preserving pill from me. For nothing. He. I should be thankful that you didn't attack me. I couldn't even ask for you to pay me back, right? Later on, when Sister Li was forming her nascent soul, you didn't even want to lend me some spirit stones. Eventually, when people annihilated my China pharmaceuticals, how is it that I didn't see you come to help?" City Lord Zhang I really want to help you, but I really can't find a reason to. Zhang Chengfeng heard this, and his face went pale. Suddenly, he cursed, Yi, even if I die, the River State Zhang family won't let you go. They will kill you and annihilate your entire family. Yi Mo shook his head. This Zhang Chengfeng wasn't threatening Luo Yuping, who was about to kill him, but he put the hate on him instead. What logic was this? Moreover, how could he be scared of the River State's small Zhang family? You're noisy. Luo Yuping's huge sword hacked down, and Zhang Chengfeng was decapitated. Yi Mo grabbed the storage ring telepathically. Luo Yuping saw that even though he had killed the person, this Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator dared to take the loot. His expression looked bad. He didn't attack Yi Mo, nor say anything. He looked at Fei Zijiang again. Fei Zijiang saw that Zhang Chengfeng was dead, and his heart turned ice cold. There was nothing he could do now. He looked at Yi Mo. Brother Yi, I'm the hidden sword sex Fei Zijiang. If you save me, I will pay you back with my life. Yi Mo sneered. There's really a lot of familiar faces here. To be honest, I wanted to go find you later, but you came to me instead. I was interested in a stone stool in the Nanshan market, but it was bought by the wealthy and snobbish Mr. Fei. He. I was threatened as well. Otherwise, how could I have known it was you? Fei Zijiang. Mr. Fei. It's you? Fei Zijiang pointed at Yi Mo, and his hand started to shake. After a moment, he suddenly said, The key is on you. Yi Mo took out a rusty-looking sword and said, You're right, but there's no reward. By the way, let me borrow your storage ring. Yi Mo waved his hand, and Fei Zijiang's finger fell off, along with his storage ring. However, Yi Mo threw it inside his golden page world without looking. Fei Zijiang looked dazedly at this comical scene and said after a while in joy, So you're the person with the key? That means we can go into the ancient ruin now. Then Luo Yuping sliced off Fei Zijiang's head with a shake of his sword, as though he had done something insignificant. But Yi Mo looked calmly at Luo Yuping and said, You're wrong. I can go into the ruins, not us. Luo Yuping was dazed. He then looked at Yi Mo with cold eyes. You want to fight me? You're a mere Golden Core State Level 2. Even though I've used some cultivation essence, it won't be a lot of trouble killing a Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator. Then Luo Yuping took out formation flags and started throwing them. He was careful in nature. Even though he was sure he could kill Yi Mo, he was still going to make preparations. He was laying out a trap formation. However, Yi Mo just stood on the side watching him, as though he didn't know what he was doing. Yi Mo was sneering inside. This was his usual method, and it was amusing to see Luo Yuping using it now. Luo Yuping rejoiced as he kept throwing formation flags and said, Brother Yi, if we work together on this ancient ruin, it'll be much better than doing it alone. If you agree, I will let you choose 3 items first. Yi Mo sneered. Luo Yuping was mean-hearted. If he hadn't used up half of his cultivation essence, he would have already attacked him. Although Yi Mo was sure he could kill Luo Yuping, he wasn't sure he wouldn't get injured. Who knew if this guy had some killing blow like Jizi Yuan did? 10 minutes later, Luo Yuping's face looked joyful. He took out the controlling formation flag and threw it. P*NK, you're too immature to fight me. Thanks for bringing the key. Yet, before his formation flag could land on the formation, it was grabbed by Yi Mo. Just when he got curious about how Yi Mo had managed to go into his formation so easily, he saw Yi Mo take out a few formation flags too and throw them in the formation. Instantly, his trap formation turned into a reverser trap formation. Luo Yuping had understood now. This Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator's formation skills were far better than his. How could this be? He looked so young. How could he have such formation mastery? He had been studying formations for more than 2 centuries, and he was only at level 3. However, This guy, with simply throwing a few formation flags, had turned his formation against him and trapped him instead. Clearly, he was a level 4, or maybe even level 5 formation master. Luo Yuping soon woke up. Now, he had realized why Yi Mo hadn't done anything while he had been laying down the formation flags. He had tried to trap a formation master with a trap formation. Luo Yuping's face turned pale. "Let me go. I'm willing to give you everything," Luo Yuping said. However, he released his huge sword at the same time and took out a dark and yellow umbrella-like magic artifact. Yi Mo ignored Luo Yuping's plea for mercy. As he threw his formation flags, he activated the formation. A yellow light ray stopped the umbrella. Luo Yuping knew it was pointless to beg now. He charged with his sword at Yi Mo's formation. The sword almost broke the formation's yellow light ray. Yi Mo was shook. Luo Yuping was good at formations indeed. He had used half of his power, yet his strike had been more powerful than the strike of the Golden Core State Peak Stage Cultivator at the Herb Plain. If he attacked the formation a few more times, it would break, although it was due to the fact that Luo Yuping had set up the formation, and Yi Mo was only using it. It still showed his mastery in formations. Without hesitation, Yi Mo released Sisu. The Illusion Cloud Division strike brought a cascade of purple sword rays towards Luo Yuping. Chapter 954. Erie's Six-Star Hall. Chapter 954. Erie's Six-Star Hall. Luo Yuping was also worried, but not as worried as before because he realized that this formation was as strong as he thought it would be. He was very shocked that Yi Mo took control of his formation so quickly. He thought he was dead for sure, but he didn't expect that he would be able to see through a gap of the formation after his strike. With time, he would be able to break this formation. Once he broke free, he wouldn't need to worry. This cultivator was only Golden Core State Level 2 after all. He was Golden Core State Tertiary Stage. Even though he had used up half of his cultivation essence, it was still enough to take on a Golden Core State Level 2. When that cascade of ever-increasing purple sword rays swept over, however, he finally realized that Yi Mo's sword technique was also extraordinary. This made him worry again, while he used his yellow umbrella to stop the purple sword rays. But when the purple sword rays clashed with his umbrella, he realized just how wrong he was. He had used half of his cultivation essence, but even if he hadn't, he might not be a match for the Golden Core State Level 2 opponent he was facing. Before he could speak, the purple sword rays completely overwhelmed the radiance of the umbrella with the help of the trap formation. Rip Luo Yuping's umbrella was torn apart and became tattered. Meanwhile, he was sent flying by the purple sword rays, crashing into the trap formation. He spat many mouthfuls of blood and fell to the ground, looking at Yi Mo in shock. He even forgot to beg for mercy. Never had he in all his years seen a Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator as powerful as Yi Mo. Even though he wasn't in his prime, it was too absurd for a Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator to break his umbrella shield in one strike. Yi Mo hacked out with Sisu again. Prior to his death, Luo Yuping would have never believed that he would die this simply. After taking Luo Yuping's storage ring, Yi Mo burned the bodies before studying this hall again. This hall was very spacious and there was nothing inside. Other than the wall made of unknown materials, there was just that door to enter the place. Yi Mo turned around and wanted to set a trap formation at the entrance. It would alert him when someone came in. He believed it was necessary to be careful at all times. But when Yi Mo turned around, he was dazed. The door which he came in through was gone, and there were just 6 walls now. He couldn't tell which direction he had come from anymore. And what shook Yi Mo was that the wall with the rink also seemed to have changed. What was going on? Yi Mo was flustered. He had been in there the whole time, and if something changed, he should have noticed right away. But the rink had really changed from the lead position to the camp position. Yi Mo calmed down. regardless of whether the door was still there. It was very eerie that the rink changed positions. He closed his eyes and felt around with his spirit sense. The entrance disappeared, probably because some mechanism had activated. Perhaps the whole place was spinning. But Yi-Mo was disappointed to find that the hall didn't have any signs of spinning. Yi-Mo frowned. He suddenly didn't really like this place. It seemed too eerie. So without hesitation, he took out the sword and walked to the rink. He had no exit. It was impossible to break the walls, and he wanted to get the fortune here and leave as soon as possible. When Yi-Mo was about to put the sword into the rink, he suddenly felt uncomfortable. This feeling was very strange. Yi-Mo trusted his sixth sense very much. Was there some hidden danger there? Yi-Mo hesitated, and he suddenly subconsciously wanted to take the sword away. However, before he could, a suction force came from the rink, and it targeted the key sword. The sword flew out of his hand and slid tightly into the rink. Yi-Mo was shook. He immediately wanted to retreat, but found that now the entire hall did start to spin. It spun faster and faster. If this kept going on, Yi-Mo could imagine he would be spun to pieces by the centrifugal force. Yi-Mo realized at this point that this was no simple ruin. Ruins were for people to find and excavate, not to be killed by them. Wait, Yi-Mo suddenly realized that this place resembled a formation. What formation was shaped like this and didn't use formation flags? A seal? Yi-Mo suddenly realized this place was a seal. When he came in, the hall didn't spin. This wasn't a hexagonal hall. If you included up and down, this was an octagonal hall. So if this was a seal, then what was it sealing? Yi-Mo didn't keep thinking, as no matter what was sealed there, it would be no good for him to release the seal. Since this was a seal, Yi-Mo also realized that the sword was the key to unlock the seal. Realizing this, Yi-Mo cursed. He immediately focused on resisting the dizziness and charged to the rink, grabbing the sword. The seal hadn't been completely unlocked yet, so he just had to take the key away. But when Yi-Mo used his cultivation essence to pull it out, he found that the sword was stuck there and wasn't budging at all. Yi-Mo seemed to hear a sneer, as though someone was mocking him for his feeble attempt. Yi-Mo started to sweat. He used all his cultivation essence, but the sword still wasn't moving at all. Without hesitation, he took out that bursting pill he had. He hadn't even used it against Jizi Yuan, but he had to use it now. He threw it onto the rink, and at the same time went into the golden page world. Rumble, a huge explosion sounded, and the entire hall shook. The explosive power was stronger than the formation Luo Yuping and company used. It was akin to the strike of a nascent soul state primary stage expert strike. The hall seemed to have paused for just a moment before it began to spin again. Before the explosion ended, Yi-Mo came out from the golden page world. The violent concussion hadn't disappeared as it tore Yi-Mo's clothes apart, but he didn't care at all. He only had one burst-in pill. He couldn't come out after the effects were over. After Yi-Mo came out, the first thing he did was to spit out essence blood. He started to burn his essence blood, and then reached his hand into the rink and grabbed the sword, pulling it with all of his cultivation essence. The key loosened under the effects of the bursting pill, and after this grab, it was actually pulled out. The powerful suction force came again. Yi-Mo held onto the sword tightly and immediately sent it into the golden page world. He knew that even if he put it in his storage ring, it might still be summoned out. Finally, the hall shook and started to slow down until it stopped completely. Yi-Mo let out a sigh of relief and slumped to the ground, feeling powerless. Chapter 955. Scamming Each Other. Chapter 955. Scamming each other. Just when Yi-Mo sat down, he felt a very angry chi fill the hall. "Kid, where did you put the key to the ruin? Hurry up and take it out." Yi-Mo heard an even angrier voice. The voice was like the sound of screeching metals. Yemo breathed easier after hearing this. This place was indeed a seal. Yemo couldn't see where the guy was nor his power, but he could feel his anger and how he was just an insignificant insect to this person. The reason he breathed easy was that he was sure the person hadn't been released yet. If he had been, then he would have been dead by now. Yemo took an life essence pill and got up. Since this is a ruin, how come I don't see anything here? Aren't ruins usually supposed to have a lot of treasures? Why do I just see an empty hall? The voice sneered. Insolent brat! If you put the key back into the rink, the ruin will open and you will see the treasure. You haven't even opened the ruin yet. How can you see any treasure? Yemo sneered. This place was clearly a seal, but this guy was trying to convince him that it was an ancient ruin. However, Yemo didn't need to say that. What he needed now the most was an exit, not to make the guy speechless through arguments. As long as I don't see the treasure, I won't believe this place is a ruin, Yemo said, and got up, wandering around the hexagon hall. The voice realized that Yemo wasn't taking him seriously and fell silent for a while. He was no longer as angry as before and said, "What treasure do you want?" His tone was still a bit sharp. Yemo heard this and thought, who knows who had released the key and had tricked him to come here to almost open the seal and lose this life. Yet from this guy's tone, perhaps he could get something out of him. Thinking about this, Yemo said, if only there was a way to increase cultivation speed. Oh, right. It'd be great if there was an escape cultivation method. If I can't beat my enemy, I can run away at any time. The voice sneered. These things are littered like trash in the ruin. As long as you open it, you will have anything you want. Yemo couldn't be bothered answering. He just kept looking for a way out in the hall. A while later, Yemo heard a clap. Two things fell into a corner of the hall. Yemo grabbed them telepathically and looked. It was a 5-element mobility cultivation method. It was at heaven grade level 5. Yemo also opened the bottle of pills, which emitted a pleasant aroma. Clearly, it was some kind of very high-level pill. Yemo couldn't even recognize what kind of pill it was. Then Yemo heard that voice again. This is a heaven-grade 5-element mobility method, but this is rather ordinary inside the ruin. The pill is called the Heaven Ascension Pill. It can help you reach a level higher. The bottle is enough for you to reach Golden Core State Peak Stage in half a year. Yemo was amazed. He hadn't expected there would be such powerful pills here. Even if he took the blue wind pill and sat in the Spirit Marrow Pond every day, he wouldn't be able to reach Golden Core State Peak Stage in half a year. The Heaven Ascension Pill was truly powerful. Yemo didn't doubt the effects of the pill, but that didn't mean he would take this pill. Even if he was going to use this type of pill, it would be after he made it himself. Who knew if there was something dodgy with the pills this guy had given him? However, Yemo liked the 5-element mobility cultivation method greatly. Yemo put the pills and the cultivation method away, and finally felt a little better, seeing that Yemo still didn't have any intentions of taking out the key. The voice said impatiently after a while, "Why haven't you opened the ruin yet?" Yemo looked around and said, "If only there was a flying cultivation artifact. Does the ruin have that?" Yemo desired a middle-grade flying spirit artifact the most. However, if he could get a cultivation artifact, why would he settle with a spirit artifact? The voice said in contempt, "A flying cultivation artifact is nothing. There's plenty of that in the ruin. Don't think that I'm trying to seduce you to open the ruin. The reason I want you to open it is because there's something I want from inside too. It's a level 9 spirit herb. It's called the Immortal Curl Flower. There are plenty of immortal curl flowers inside. I just need one. Although I'm in the ruin, I'm only a spiritual body. I can't get close to the Immortal Curl Flower, so I need your help. You only need to give me one after you get it." Yemo sneered. This person's words were a mixture of truth and lies. However, Yemo could tell that this person had realized he had a rare flame, and that was a pill master. That's why he said such things. The immortal curlflower was said to be a level 9 spirit herb, but it had long surpassed the realm of spirit herbs. It could be called the immortal herb. It was a treasure that everyone in the cultivation realm desired. Its greatest power was building a body. A ghost cultivator or a spiritual body could build the perfect body for themselves through the immortal curlflower. Even if one wasn't a ghost cultivator, with this flower, they had a chance to rebuild a new body. This herb was talked about in legends. He knew that no one in the cultivation realm that had ever found it before. However, if a spiritual body was too weak and it didn't have a ghost core, it wouldn't be able to get near the immortal curlflower. If they got near it, they would immediately be devoured. They could only use an immortal curlflower that had already been plucked. Yemo could tell that the reason this guy had said this was to make him think that he hadn't reached golden core state in terms of ghost cultivation. Thus, he would be no match for him. No matter what, Yemo didn't believe this guy, and he wasn't going to do as he said. This means you haven't formed a ghost core yet. Yemo asked intentionally. The voice hesitated, and then said, "But I believe that in a few more decades, I will be able to form a ghost core for sure. Only an idiot would believe that." Yemo shook his head. "Actually, I'm not interested in the immortal curlflower. My greatest interest is having a flying cultivation artifact." At this moment, the entity behind the voice had clearly realized Yemo was telling lies. Everything he had said before was a trick. He even suspected that Yemo could tell this place was a seal. Otherwise, why would he go through all that effort to pull the key out? However, Yemo was his only hope now. Hence, even though he knew Yemo was scamming him, he could only say, "Look, this is the level 10-9 feathers golden perch. This type of feather can even make extreme grade cultivation artifacts. My power is limited, so I can't move some of the cultivation artifacts." Yemo immediately grabbed it. He was filled with joy just by looking at the azure feather. This feather itself was no less valuable than any top-grade cultivation artifact. The strong power the feather emitted even shocked Yemo. Yemo placed the feather in a jade box and sent it into his golden page world. Seeing that Yemo was ignoring him again, the voice released his anger and said, "Now, will you open the ruin already? If there are some other extreme grade spirit stones, then I'd be really interested. Are there some inside?" Yemo suddenly clapped his hand in excitement. "Insect, are you here to make fun of me?" The voice finally couldn't resist it anymore. Yemo heard his and realized he couldn't get any more out of this guy. So he said coldly too, "Are you a ghost? A ghost that can see that I have a rare flame inside my body?" "When did I see that?" the voice subconsciously answered. "Then, how do you know I'm a pill master?" Yemo quickly asked. The voice didn't remember when he called Yemo a pill master. He paused, and then he realized that Yemo was tricking him. Clearly, Yemo had realized that he could see that he had a rare flame after he mentioned the immortal curlflower. Such meticulous thinking process. The voice said helplessly, "You're right. I shouldn't have mentioned the immortal curlflower." Yemo sneered. "Even if you hadn't talked about the immortal curlflower, I wouldn't have broken the seal to let you out. A ruin? You can trick other people, but not me." Chapter 956. Break Free. Chapter 956. Break free. After Yemo said that, the voice turned extremely cold. "So that means you've been tricking me this whole time? You've got what you wanted, yet now you don't plan on opening the ruin?" It was just 2 sentences, but Yemo almost felt himself shiver. What strong power! But Yemo soon regained his composure. "Trick you? Don't make yourself sound so pitiful." "I'm disgusted." You've been saying this is a ruin non-stop. You never said it was a seal. From the beginning to the end, you've been thinking of how to trick me to open the seal. As for these things, I found them here. I never asked about them from you. How is that tricking you?" The voice's owner was speechless. Yi Mo never asked him indeed. He just said it would be great if he had them. The voice's owner just hadn't realized this. The voice didn't keep arguing about this problem. It laughed. "Open my seal, and I can swear I won't hurt you, and will let you go out. I have a lot of good things, and there are a lot of treasures here. I can give it all to you. If you don't want to open it, then, after a few more years have passed, I will still be able to open the seal myself. By then, you would be the first person I want to kill. Moreover, even if you don't open the seal, do you think you can just leave? This is an 8-gate spirit locking formation. Unless you also have a level 8 teleportation rune like that person from before, you will be trapped here like me." Yi Mo had still wanted to ask who had trapped this man here and why the key would be in the outside world, but after hearing that, he lost interest. The most important thing for him now wasn't to ask about that, but to find a way out. He didn't have a level 8 teleportation rune, but Yi Mo didn't believe his last sentence. He was at most trapped outside the seal. This was completely different to being sealed inside the seal. If it really was inside the seal, then he was sure that even the woman before wouldn't be able to leave. Seeing Yi Mo ignore him again, the voice said more things, but Yi Mo ignored it all. Eventually, the voice stopped talking, as the owner was made to wonder why he couldn't sense the key anymore. 2 days later, Yi Mo was still walking around the hall without any progress. At the moment, he was really getting a bit desperate, and eventually he just sat down. He knew that if he kept going around like that, it wouldn't help him at all. Yi Mo stared at the rink. He was sure that it changed places not because it changed to a different face of the wall, but because the hall was spinning. When he first came in, he was facing the wall with the rink. As long as he found the wall facing the rink, he would find the entrance. Yi Mo sat down and started investigating how the wall with the door could have suddenly disappeared. Yi Mo thought there might be a stealth formation hiding the door, but after Yi Mo used every method he could think of, he still didn't find any stealth formation. "Space formation door." Just when he didn't know what to do, these words popped into his head. He came in through a space formation door. Would the entrance also be a space formation door? Thinking about this, Yi Mo's heart sunk. There were many types of space formation doors, and although Yi Mo couldn't lay down any of them, he knew there were conditions to activate one. If it really was a space formation door, then he really wouldn't be able to go out. Unless he could reach the level of building a space formation door himself one day, he would never be able to leave through this 8-sided hall space formation door. A few more days passed without Yi Mo finding any way to escape. He was very worried being trapped there. The voice seemed to know that Yi Mo didn't want to talk to him, so it never talked, as though waiting for Yi Mo to ask for his help after experiencing defeat. On the 9th day, Yi Mo, in his dejectedness, took out the half an eye he obtained from the 3-eyed purple frog and started to spirit control it. Half a day later, the eye turned into nothing, and some simple spirit sense refining and basic attacking means appeared in Yi Mo's mind. Yi Mo rejoiced, and even forgot about going out. A spirit sense attack, the voice sounded. After cultivating the 3-birth chant, he could learn it with the slightest of hints and form his own cultivation method based on those hints. The spirit sense attack was no different. When Yi Mo opened his eyes again, he felt that although his spirit sense hadn't gotten stronger, it was more refined. He could even make a simple spirit sense attack to stun the opponent now. When Yi Mo tried his spirit sense attack on a wall, a huge door suddenly appeared. Yi Mo rejoiced and was flustered at the same time. No way was his spirit sense attack that strong. He had just begun learning it. But soon, Yi Mo understood what was going on. Someone else was coming. Before anyone even appeared, Yi Mo already understood from the power waves that there were at least 3 nascent soul state cultivators coming. The door had opened and they hadn't come in yet. So without wasting even a moment, Yi Mo dashed out of the first door and stayed by the door side, not daring to move. Even if he was risking his life, he was going to try to get out. If he didn't get out, he would be killed by those who came in anyways. As soon as Yi Mo left the hall, he heard the furious rage of that voice, but soon he couldn't hear it anymore. He knew why the voice raged. Yi Mo had taken away the key. Yi Mo was very confident in his stealth cultivation method, but he wasn't too sure against nascent soul state cultivators. He acted like a rock on the side of the road, emitting no chi whatsoever. But Yi Mo knew that if nascent soul state cultivators were to continuously keep their spirit sense on him, he would be caught no matter what. Thus, he only dared to hide at a place not far from the door, so the cultivators would see the door and ignore him. He didn't dare to hide into the golden page world yet. He couldn't change its color, so if a golden light suddenly appeared in midair, it would be found by them. There's a door here. It seems Zhejiang went in from here, a low voice said not far from Yi Mo. It seems these people came to find Fei Zhejiang. It really was good to have a sect, for people had come, and 3 of them quickly passed through the door. The last person was almost about to step in as well when Yi Mo clearly felt him hesitate, about to step back. But eventually he didn't. Yi Mo then couldn't help it anymore and dashed up the stairs towards outside. Was something wrong? One of them noticed and asked. The last cultivator frowned and said, "There's something strange here, so let's go back out first. When I first came in, I seemed to have felt someone hiding by the door, but when I wanted to check it, I came in subconsciously first. Someone who can hide even from us? Is he a nascent soul state cultivator too? Maybe even stronger than us?" One of the party said. The last cultivator shook his head. He might not be as strong as us, but he must be at nascent soul state for sure. Otherwise, how could we be tricked? I'll go back to Che. As the 3 turned around, they saw the door that was behind them disappear. "This place is very dangerous," the last cultivator said. Chapter 957. The South Peace State's Black Ice Mountain. Chapter 957. The South Peace State's Black Ice Mountain. Yi Mo dashed outside through the space formation door and the stealth formation as fast as he could. He got on Zhisu without even daring to turn around. He carried a purple beam with him as he howled past the sky of the all-herb mountain ranges. He could no longer care about staying low-key. It would be success if he got out of the all-herb mountain ranges. There were 4 states on Luo Yu continent, and each continent was boundless. However, all of them put together weren't even close to the size of the Heartless Sea. The South Peace State was the best cultivation ground on Luo Yu continent. The Black Ice sect was one of the 9-star sects there, which was situated on the famous Black Ice Mountain. It was said that the sect had been built more than 100,000 years ago. It had always been on the top 3 amongst the 9-star sections. In the past millennium, the Black Ice sect was no longer as glorious as before, and it was at the bottom of the 9-star sections. Even its 9-star grade was in danger. Yet recently, they had acquired a few genius disciples. All of these sort of signs showed that the Black Ice sect seemed to be able to rise up again and reach the top 3. In a 10,000 kilometers radius around the Black Ice Mountain, there was 1 main peak, 18 side peaks, and 108 supplementary peaks. The main peak was the Black Ice Peak, where the core of the sect was. Truth realization state cultivators used to be the only ones that could stay at the side peaks, but that had changed too. Now, there was only 1 truth realization state cultivator in the sect. Hence, those who reached cauldron filling state could live on the side peaks. Those above cauldron filling state were the grand elders of the sect. As for the supplementary peaks, they had been accommodated for the inner sect elders and some managers, as well as cultivator who had made huge contributions to the sect. Other than these peaks, there were countless small peaks on the Black Ice Mountain. These were awarded to excellent sect members, to all the cultivators there. Their greatest desire was to study under one of the 18 side peak leaders and become a core disciple. Only then could they live there. However, most sect members wouldn't even be able to get into the 108 supplementary peaks. The Black Wind Peak was also one of the 18 side peaks. This peak's leader was one of the cauldron-filling state grand elders of the sect, Fan Lianju. The spirit chi, there was extremely dense, and there was an individual spirit range underneath the spirit gathering formation. From a room on this peak, a woman of unparalleled beauty walked outside. There was some joy in her despondent eyes. Sister Susu, have you reached Golden Core State? Another beautiful woman came out of the house next door and said in excitement, "And, Bei Wei, you're almost at Golden Core State too. Hopefully, someday we will be able to cross the Heartless Sea and go to the East Black State to see if your brother is there," Susu replied. Bei Wei nodded. "And I also miss my brother. Sai, we came together as 5 before, but now we've gone to 3 different sections. I wonder how Sister Qingxue, Z, and Luo Fei are." Clearly, they didn't know that Yimo was in the North Far State. So Luo Ying, who had recovered her memories, believed Yimo had gone to the East Black State. They wanted to cross the Heartless Sea to find Yimo. However, without having power above body condensation state, it was a joke. Hearing this, Luo Ying's joy of reaching Golden Core State disappeared. It was fine as long as they cultivated nonstop every day. However, once they stopped, that burning longing scraped their heart. Luo Ying didn't tell Bei Wei that Yimo's talent was average. In a few decades, they might have still not found Yimo yet, even if they reached cauldron-filling state. Moreover, Luo Ying was worried that Yimo hadn't come to Luo Yu continent at all. If that was the case, they would never be able to see Yimo again. She knew it was a coincidence that they had come there. If they wanted to go back, it would be impossible unless they had world-dominating power. That kind of power wasn't something that could be achieved by the cultivators of the cultivation realm. If she could choose, Luo Ying would rather go back to Earth and live with Yimo in Luo Yu City. In her eyes, it was SOSO to live thousands of years without Yimo. She would rather live a few decades with Yimo. Tang Bei Wei was also worried that her brother hadn't come there, but she didn't say it out loud. If they said it out loud, then they would lose hope and stop cultivating. Sister Susu, we didn't go to the Desert Plain Herb Valley this time because our power was too low. Are we going to the South Peace City Cultivator meeting next April? Tang Bei Wei changed the topic. Luo Ying came back to her senses and nodded. Core disciples like us aren't allowed to leave the sect without a certain level of power. Qingxue, we'll probably go to the meeting next year. It'd be good if we saw each other. Sister Susu, last time I went to Treasure Tower, I heard something. That 9-star Infinity Sex Core disciple Wen Tsai said she would challenge you after reaching Golden Core State. If we go to the South Peace City next year, will we meet her there? She ranked number 1 in the Golden Core State Hall of Fame. Tang Bei Wei asked worriedly. Luo Ying looked at Tang Bei Wei in confusion. I don't even know her. Why is she challenging me? I'm not interested in fighting. If she thinks she's strong, I won't disagree. What has that got to do with me? Tang Bei Wei shook her head. It's not that. You and her both ranked first beauties of the South Peace State. On top of that, the person she likes is Yuan Guanan from the Infinity Sect, but the person he likes isn't her. That, Yuan Guanan said after he reached nascent soul state, he would come and propose to us. Yuan Guanan liked Wen Tsai a lot before we came, but after we got here, Luo Ying said calmly, I'm not going to compare myself to her. I have a husband. She can like whoever she wants. It has nothing to do with me. Tang Bei Wei nodded. Yes, She's the most beautiful in the South P state, yet she's that bored. I heard there's a Dong Tianyan who likes her in her sect, but she doesn't like him back. I really wonder who that Yuan Guanan is. How can he make her love him so much? Bei Wei, let's not care about such things. We need to focus on cultivation. This isn't our home, Luo Ying said. I know, sister. Tang Bei Wei poked her tongue out. The North Far State's Jiangchuan city was as populated as Broken Leaf City. Cultivators and mortals lived amongst each other. The spirit Qi, there was arid, and there weren't many cultivation resources nearby. It was also very far from the Heartless Sea, so there were rather less cultivators there, and no high-level cultivators. The highest level there was only at Foundation Establishment State. There were occasional Golden Core State passerbys. Even the city, Lord, there was just a martial artist. Those with higher power wouldn't stay there. They would go to a place with more spirit Qi when Yemo got there. It had already been 3 months after he had escaped from the All-Herb Valley. During these 3 months, Yemo had been to 15 cities and 4 small countries. Some were cultivation cities and some were just mortal cities. Yemo had tried to avoid cultivators from the Ghost Immortal sect, as well as that black and white halfway pill king. He chose distant places. Yemo was still wearing 9 transformations. Chapter 959. Search. Chapter 959. Search. Then he looked at the 2 martial artists at the door. Clearly they were the guards. The 2 guards walked over and said to Yemo, Sir, if you're not here to buy anything, Leah dash. Before they could finish, they were thrown out and smashed onto the door sign, shattering the luxurious shop sign. They fell onto the streets, holding their legs, and were crying out in pain. Then Yemo said coldly, Tell your manager to come. If you say any more *T, I will tear this place apart. Yemo was burning with desperation and was not going to use calm means. He needed to know where Su Jingwen was as quickly as possible. Su Jingwen was the first girl he met on Earth, and Yemo was with her too. Without the attendant even having to call, a very fat man suddenly rushed down. He immediately saluted with his fists and said respectfully, I didn't know a mortal master had arrived. My apologies for all the rudeness. Please have a seat upstairs. Clearly, this manager had been watching what was happening downstairs. Yemo took out a bracelet and said, Did this come from your place? The manager now knew that Yemo had to be there because of the bracelet and quickly said, Yes, it was sold from my shop 5 days ago by the young miss of the Qin Manor, Qin Baiha. I didn't ask you who bought it. I want to know where you got it from. Yemo calmed down a little, seeing the manager was cooperating. The manager was clearly astute, and he knew that the bracelet hadn't come through proper means. If ordinary people came to investigate, he wouldn't tell the truth, but now an immortal master came and asked. He didn't dare to lie at all. If he offended an immortal master, his entire shop would be immediately disintegrated, much less his fame. Although they also had an immortal master behind their back, who knew if they wouldn't reach some deal. Also, it just wasn't worth it for an ordinary person to hide things from an immortal master. And so, without hesitation, the manager said, It was the 4 Pei brothers we got it from. They used to dominate the local martial scene, and every once in a while they would come sell some things. This bracelet dash, where are they now? Yemo asked. The manager immediately replied, They aren't in Jianchuan City. They're in the Pei family manor outside the city. It's 50 kilometers to the east from here. The manager gave very specific details without Yemo needing to ask. Seeing Yi Mo suddenly disappear from right in front of him after saying that, he was even more scared. Luckily, he didn't offend the immortal master. It seemed this was no ordinary immortal master. It was near winter, and there were rarely people outside the city. People gathered inside the city walls, and so the streets seemed busy. When Yi Mo got to the Pei family manor, it was also very populated. For men were drinking in a room with a few beautiful maids, serving them wine on the side. That Ma Yenwen really knows how to enjoy life, starting dual cultivation with that Lao Shensi. Does he have nothing to do? How can he live joyfully like us, drinking wine and eating meat? A man on the left said with a little drunkenness. The skinny man opposite him smiled and said, "Third brother, aren't you just jealous that us four don't have spirit roots?" That man gulped another cup. Clearly he was a little jealous. The man sitting at the head seat said, "Second brother, you don't need to say that. Although we live an enjoyable life, it's not as good as those immortal masters, living hundreds of years and all that. I heard that next spring the Changhe River will start taking in disciples. We should go have a look too." Just when they wanted to agree, a voice said, "That's if you have the life to go." The four shot up and saw a man suddenly appear in their room, watching them coldly. "Who are you?" The big brother stopped them from attacking and asked. He knew that this person quite possibly might be an immortal master to be able to appear in their room without them noticing. Yi Mo took out a bracelet. "Where did you get this bracelet from?" All four brothers could tell Yi Mo didn't harbor good intentions, so the fourth brother suddenly said, "This is the first time I've seen this bracelet. We have never had anything to do with it." Yi Mo didn't look at him, but his spirit sense easily caught the glimmer in his eyes. Clearly the fellow was lying. Yi Mo threw out a wind blade casually, and the fourth brother was sliced in half before he could even scream. Blood splashed out onto the floor. The maids immediately fainted at such a bloody scene. The other three couldn't take it anymore. One of the four brothers was killed. They pulled out their swords and charged up. Yi Mo could tell that their brotherhood was extreme, so it would be impossible to interrogate them. Thinking about this, Yi Mo no longer had the intention of asking questions. He killed another one and controlled the souls of the other two to interrogate them. The two had never cultivated before, so it was very easy to do so. If they had formed spirit sense, it would be very hard. Soul-searching someone with spirit sense would be even more implausible, as it required at least truth realization state power and a soul-searching cultivation method. 15 minutes later, Yi Mo killed the last two and left this Pei manor. He had learned of the bracelet story. 2 months earlier, Jiangchuan City had a battle with the nearby Fu Mo City. It was a battle between two cultivators initially, but countless people in the cities died. People soon started to flee, including the wealthy families. Some wealthy families brought along guards, but most of them were in a chaotic state. So the four brothers used the opportunity to rob all those asylum seekers. From what they knew, this bracelet was taken from some very ugly woman. Chapter 960. The moment I met you. Chapter 960. The moment I met you, the places Yi Mo needed to search were fewer and fewer, but this just made him more worried. He had searched 90% of the area, but there were still no signs of Su Jingwen. A woman wearing rags stumbled across the street Yi Mo was at. She noticed Yi Mo standing in the center of the street, cloaked in snow, and had a sudden resonance in her heart. Was this person standing in the snow, like her due to something he didn't want to let go? She knew that once the snow fell, the frigid winter had arrived. Her days of roaming outside would be over. If she couldn't find a good place to go, then she would have to prepare for death. She wanted to roam around in the snow and think about her days in Ninghai. Think about how she went from Ninghai to Luoyu City for him, from Luoyu to that small world, and then from the small world to this living hell. After reminiscing those days, she would leave Jiangchuan City and find a peaceful place in the wilderness to settle and leave this world peacefully. Perhaps in her next life, she would find a place where she truly belonged. Perhaps in her next life, she would find love in someone who also loved her back. Her only pity was that her bracelet had been stolen. If only she could leave the world with the bracelet still on her. She had no regrets. Sometimes people needed to pursue what they wanted in life, and she wasn't a woman who could settle for anything. She just wondered if her mother was all right, if Yimo, Wanqing, and Sister Yuhua were fine. She wondered if he was fine. Perhaps no one would ever know that her final destination had been a place like this, a world like this. She walked past Yimo, who was standing still. When she was only a few meters away, her heart suddenly ached. She turned around and looked at the man who stood still in the middle of the street. The bracelet he was holding in his hands. She was dazed. After a long while, she moved her eyes from the bracelet to Yimo's face. Although Yimo's eyes were closed and there was a layer of snow on his hair and brows, she was still shook. An unexplainable feeling gushed out from the depth of her heart. Am I dead? Am I hallucinating? Is this person really him? Why is it so real? She didn't wipe her eyes. She didn't dare move. She was scared that this figure would disappear, and she would wake up from her hallucination to realize she was still by herself in that endless, strange world. Tears flowed down her eyes, finally letting go countless hardships. She had never teared up, but at that moment, she couldn't control her tears anymore. In her loneliest and most helpless moments, she hadn't considered crying even though she had been about to die. But seeing this person before her, she could no longer bear the feeling of helplessness, loneliness, and grief in her heart. She wanted to cry. However, this was even more of a reason not to move. She would rather die slowly like this than make the hallucination before her eyes disappear. She didn't dare say a word. When I first met you, I was walking down the busy streets of my hometown. The hustling crowd around us. You were alone in a corner of the street selling charms. At that time, you weren't a part of the world yet, but you saved my mother. When I met you for the last time, I was walking on the streets of a foreign place, flying snowflakes around us. You stand alone in the middle of the street waiting for the snow. At that moment, you were only the hallucination of my mind. You allow me to leave without any regrets. The snow had also covered her body, but she didn't move nor blink. She wasn't going to let the person before her disappear, even if it was just an illusion. Yimo's heart sunk. He hadn't let anyone pass his spirit sense. He had fully committed his mind to searching. Even if someone had tried to attack him, he wouldn't have noticed. He probably had never been so focused on doing something. However, he had been searching nearby and hadn't found Su Jingwen at all. Yi Mo sighed. He was prepared to take back his spirit sense and leave when he saw someone standing a few meters from him, not moving. How far does someone have to search? Sometimes you search around everywhere, but you can't see that what you're looking for is right in front of your eyes. Jingwen, Yi Mo immediately realized that the person in front of him was Su Jingwen. He had been looking for her, but she had found him first. Since she had found him, why wasn't she talking? Why was she just standing there? Su Jingwen had a faint smile on her face. 2 rows of tears were frozen on her face. She didn't have Yimo's cultivation essence power. Her body was weak to begin with. If she hadn't had that faith holding her, she would have fallen down already. Yimo's spirit sense immediately noticed that Su Jingwen was on the brink of death. He was shook. He quickly grabbed her and took her to his hotel. Yi Mo took off her disguise, unveiling that pretty and familiar face of hers. With Yimo's power and Pill King prowess, it wasn't hard for him to heal Su Jingwen. Yet, what disappointed Yi Mo was that no matter what he did, Su Jingwen simply had a smile on her face and looked at him. If he disappeared from her sight, she would tear up. Yi Mo was sad. He hadn't thought Su Jingwen had such feelings for him. In the depth of his heart, he felt guilty. He had thought of many people, but he had been worried about Su Jingwen due to Yi Mo. He remembered when Su Jingwen invited him to dinner. The first dance of his life had been with Su Jingwen. No matter what, I will cure her, Yi Mo made up his mind. He started to remove her clothes and shower her. Yi Mo was just going to stay in this city for a day, but because of Su Jingwen, he stayed for 3 days. On the 4th day, he took her to the most famous doctor there. He was a cultivator, so he never had thought he would need a mortal doctor. Even though he was powerful and a pill king, he didn't know what was wrong with Su Jingwen. He had refined Su Jingwen's marrow for her, and even cured her old sickness, but she was still like this. Yi Mo had taken her to many clinics, but none of them could even tell what was wrong with her. However, at least he knew that one person might know what was wrong with her. That man was Dr. King's son Ho-Chang. It was said that he was not only a Dr. King, but also an immortal master. He lived on the Min. He mountained thousands of kilometers from there. Yi Mo immediately headed towards this place. Yet, Yi Mo could only hold Su Jingwen in his arms. He couldn't carry her on his back as she would start crying as soon as she couldn't see him after getting there. Yi Mo immediately realized that Sun Ho-Chang was just an ordinary solo cultivator, and one who wasn't so powerful. Spirit Chi was scarce there too. Seeing this, Yi Mo was greatly disappointed. Sun Ho-Chang was worse than him, and he was perhaps this famous only due to his status as a cultivator. But regardless, he had to check if the Sun Ho-Chang actually had skills. Yi Mo didn't know if Sun Ho-Chang had the skills, but he certainly thought highly of himself. Yi Mo was stopped outside the formation. 2 Qi-gathering female disciples said that their master was outside, and he hadn't come back yet. As soon as they said this, 2 men came out. One had a beard up to his chest and seemed like an immortal. The other was an ordinary-looking man. Yet, Yi Mo realized that these 2 cultivators were at Golden Core State Level 7. "Brother Sun, I'll rely on you for this matter," the ordinary-looking man said. Yi Mo immediately could tell that the bearded man was Sun Ho-Chang. Sun Ho-Chang laughed. "Dao friendly, don't worry, I will do my best. In 1 month, you will receive good news." Chapter 961. Obsession. Chapter 961. Obsession. This looks like a case of the will overexertion syndrome. What a woman of strong obsession. It was the ordinary-looking man who said this. Yi Mo heard this like immortal music and quickly went up and saluted with his fists. "Dao friend, do you know the cause for her illness?" The ordinary-looking man was much stronger than Yi Mo, but seemed very amicable. And he nodded. "I know the cause of her illness because I've seen it before. You're probably here for pills from Pill Master Sun, right? But you're probably going to be disappointed." Sun Ho-Chang glanced coldly at Yi Mo and Su Jingwen and didn't say anything. Yi Mo was very unhappy with this Sun Ho-Chang. He was just an ordinary pill concoctor. Was this act necessary? Did he think he was a pill king? But since this ordinary-looking man recognized Su Jingwen's condition, Yi Mo couldn't underestimate Sun Ho-Chang. Moreover, he had come to ask for help, so he saluted with his fists. "Pill Master Sun, may I ask dash?" Before Yi Mo could finish, Sun Ho-Chang waved his hand and said, "No need to ask, I can't cure this. This is the first time I've heard of such a condition." Then he ignored Yi Mo and saluted with his fists to the ordinary-looking man. "Brotherly, I'll be going." Then he went back inside and shut the formation. The person he called brotherly showed his hands to Yi Mo and said, "He's such a strange-tempered man, but he's a level 6 spirit pill master. I came to him for pills, but I think he really doesn't know about such a disease. I've only heard about it here and there as well." Yi Mo wasn't going to let this opportunity to gain information pass, and he saluted with his fists and said, "Dao friend, please, do you know how to cure this overexertion syndrome?" The cultivator shook his head. "The reason why I even know about it is because 70 years ago, I went with an elder to visit a Qianbei. He had seen this sort of patient before. That Qianbei said that this condition was caused by an obsessive, that surpassed the patient's love for life. If the patient can't be awakened on the mental level, he or she will be incurable otherwise." What did that Qianbei say in the end? Yi Mo asked desperately. Seeing Yi Mo was so desperate, the cultivator coldly replied with sympathy that Qianbei couldn't cure it either. He just said that you need to understand the patient's obsession and then wake the patient up with mental and soul-type pills. But the soul-type pills are very precious, as though not wanting to see Yi Mo lose hope, Li added. Even spirit sense repairing pills are very expensive. I heard that in the last pill concoction hall of fame tournament, one pill master used spirit attraction grass to create the spirit weaving pill. Perhaps you can go find him and see? Yi Mo was dazed. That person was him. If he had a way to cure this, why would he ask some level 6 spirit pill master? Seeing Yi Mo flustered, the cultivator continued. That Qianbei did say that there's a herb called Du Lan Chun Xiao. If you use this herb in a pill, it could perhaps wake up the patient. If the number 1 Hall of Fame pill master would be willing to help, perhaps this pill could really be made. Yi Mo suddenly realized his thinking had really been clouded because of being personally involved. Wasn't he a pill king level master? Yet in his desperation, he couldn't think of that much. He didn't even come up with the diagnosis that Su Jingwen was just in a state of too much obsession. He knew the Du Lan Chun Xiao. It was a type of level 3 spirit herb. It did have great potency for curing spirit and mental type conditions, and perhaps he could really use this herb to make a pill and test it out. Not to mention, he knew that Su Jingwen's obsession might be related to him. The only difficulty now would be to find the Du Lan Chun Xiao. It was just a level 3 spirit herb, but it was very rare as level 5 spirit herbs. The herb wasn't as difficult to make a pill with as the spirit attraction grass, but it was still very hard. But since he could put the spirit attraction grass into a pill, why couldn't he do the same to Du Lan Chun Xiao? Thinking about this, Yi Mo felt relieved. Even if he couldn't make the Du Lan Chun Xiao into a pill, he still had the spirit recovery pill. That was a heaven-grade level 3 pill, the best pill for recovering injuries to the soul. Even if he couldn't cure Su Jingwen, he could make her better. Yi Mo immediately put a spirit recovery pill in her mouth. It melted immediately, and Su Jingwen's eyes shut. After a while, she fell into sleep. Yi Mo rejoiced. Su Jingwen hadn't slept for a few days, and that's what worried him the most. If he hadn't refined her marrow for her, she really might not have lasted this long. Now that she was asleep, even if she didn't recover, it would allow him enough time to look for the herb. Seeing the possibility of curing her, Yi Mo rejoiced. He was very thankful to this cultivator. And he said, "Brotherly thank you. I was enlightened thanks to you." The cultivator looked at Su Jingwen in shock. "I heard that Qianbei say that patients with this condition can't fall asleep. How did you make her fall asleep?" This man had helped him a lot, so Yi Mo didn't want to lie to him. "That was actually a spirit recovery pill I obtained by chance." "What?" The cultivator was shook. "Are you talking about the heaven-grade, level 3 spirit recovery pill?" He didn't know how the spirit recovery pill was made, but he knew it was a heaven-grade level 3 pill. It was worth a fortune. And yet this cultivator just gave one to the woman in his arms. How wealthy was he? Yi Mo didn't want to talk much about it. "Brotherly, I'm going to find the Du Lan Chun Xiao. Farewell." Yi Mo wanted to tell the man his name, but since he was being hunted by so many people, he couldn't. The Li cultivator realized Yi Mo didn't want to talk about the spirit recovery pill, so He didn't ask and said, "If you want to find the Dulon Chun Shao, I know a place that will have it in 4 days." "Where would that be?" Yi Mo asked. "In 4 days in Shuagan City, there will be a small-scale Golden Core State gathering. I heard that someone will be bringing the Dulon Chun Shao there. I'm going there too. If you want to go, you can come with me," he said. This was too coincidental. Yet as Yi Mo studied this Li cultivator, he could see that his tone was genuine, and Yi Mo didn't feel there was anything wrong with him. He nodded. "Thank you then, Brother Li. My name is Mo-ing. I'm a solo cultivator. What pill are you asking Sun Ho-chang to make that it will take a month?" The cultivator smiled. "I'm Li Jingwen. I am similarly a solo cultivator. I got 2 pieces of blue and grass, and so I wanted to ask Pill Master Sun to concoct some blue and pills." This Li Jingwen had helped him, so Yi Mo couldn't let him be scammed. Thinking about this, Yi Mo said, "Brother Li, I'm not saying what you did was wrong, but the blue and pill isn't something a level 6 spirit pill master can concoct. It requires at least a level 7 spirit pill master. As for special grade ones, only pill kings can make them." Li Jingwen smiled bitterly. "Of course I know that, but out of all the pill masters I know, Pill Master Sun is the highest level. I wouldn't be able to afford level 7 or above spirit pill masters." Sigh. Yi Mo immediately understood the hardship of Li Jingwen. Yi Mo was a pill king, so he didn't experience the pain of ordinary cultivators. He thought for a moment and said, "Brother Li, if I'm not wrong, Li Jingwen shouldn't be able to make it. He's lying to you saying that it takes 1 month to make 2. I've made the blue and pill before, and even a bad level 7 spirit pill master wouldn't need a day." Are you a level 7 spirit pill master?" Li Jingwen was shocked. Chapter 962, Golden Core State Gathering. Chapter 962, Golden Core State Gathering. That's right, I'm a level 7 spirit pill master. If you're willing to trust me, I can concoct the blue and pill for you. I'm sure that Sun Ho-chang is tricking you. Whether or not he has the ability to concoct, it is questionable, but just based on how he says it will be done in a month, it doesn't sound trustworthy. Yi Mo really didn't like this Sun Ho-chang, but he had a good impression of Li Jingwen. Yi Mo thought Li Jingwen would be rather careful about letting him concoct the pill for him, as, after all, the blue hen herb was precious. But what he didn't expect was that Li Jingwen only hesitate for a moment before saying, "Brother Mo, I trust you. I believe you're a level 7 spirit pill master." Yi Mo was surprised. He didn't think Li Jingwen would be that honest. It's good Yi Mo wasn't planning on tricking him. Li Jingwen said, "If you can give this woman a heaven-grade level 3 spirit recovery pill, it means you're someone who values the more important things in life. I don't believe someone like that is a liar." Yi Mo knew what Li Jingwen meant. In the cultivation realm, even a husband and wife might not give each other a heaven-grade level 3 pill. Sun Ho-chang was very happy today. He just got 2 blue and herbs. Although he couldn't make it yet, once he became a level 7 spirit pill master, he would. The blue and pills made from these 2 herbs would be enough to support him up to the Golden Core State Peak stage. As for Li Jingwen, he would find some excuse and compensate him with a bit of spirit stones. But before he could finish enjoying his mood, his 2 female disciples reported that Li Jingwen was outside. He felt strange. Why had Li Jingwen come back right after he'd just left? In any case, Sun Ho-chang kept his 2 blue and herbs and went. He couldn't just avoid him after all. Thinking about this, Sun Ho-chang left and came up to Li Jingwen with a serious face. "Brother Li, did you forget about something?" Li Jingwen said with awkwardness, "Pill Master Sun, could you give back my 2 blue and herbs for now? I would like to ask for your help in 4 days instead." Sun Ho-chang was shook and quickly asked, "Why?" "I was studying the herbs right now. If I get them 4 days later, it will delay the time you get the pills." Li Jingwen shook his head. I know, but I have no choice. I want to see if I can trade the herbs for some blue wind pills during the gathering in 4 days in Shoagon City. If not, then I'll come back to ask for your help. Please understand. Sun Ho-chang heard this and looked at him in shock. You want to trade blue wind herbs for blue wind pills? You know, that's impossible. Li Jingwen sighed. I know it's very hard, but how can I be sure it won't work if I don't try? If I don't try, I can't put my heart at ease. Sun Ho-chang looked at Yi Mo. Li Jingwen was someone very easy to talk to. So why did he change his mind so quickly? Clearly this had something to do with Yi Mo. But he was sure that even if someone had blue wind pills at the gathering, they wouldn't trade it for blue wind herbs. But the blue wind herbs belonged to Li Jingwen, and he had only just given them to him. He couldn't even find an excuse not to give it back. If Li Jingwen came back the next day, he could say that he had already started making it. But Li Jingwen hadn't even left for 10 minutes. Not to mention that Li Jingwen was no weaker than him. If they fought, he might not be a match for him. Sun Ho-chang felt very unhappy. Even though he was sure that Li Jingwen wouldn't be able to trade his herbs for the blue wind pill, he would still feel more secure if he kept the blue wind herb on himself. Pill Master Sun, Li Jingwen reminded Sun Ho-chang of his presence, seeing he wasn't talking. Okay, since Brotherly wants to try, I agree, of course. Sun Ho-chang took out the 2 jade boxes in the end. After Li Jingwen confirmed that the boxes contained his blue wind herbs, he nodded and said to Sun Ho-chang, Thank you, Pill Master Sun, I'll be leaving now. Brother Mo, let's go together. Sun Ho-chang looked at Yi Mo and said, Friend, if you don't mind, I would like to invite you to my place. I can help you look at this patient. How could Yi Mo not know what Sun Ho-chang was planning? He didn't want to let go of the blue wind herb and hated him for seemingly meddling. Or perhaps he called him in so that Li Jingwen would follow as well. This way, he could take revenge against him and get the blue wind herb from Li Jingwen at the same time. But Yi Mo had no time to bullsh *T with this random person. Even if he could save Jingwen, he wasn't going to beg Sun Ho-chang. So Yi Mo ignored Sun Ho-chang and said to Li Jingwen, Well, let's go then. Then he released a simple flying sword and left the place with Li Jingwen quickly. Seeing the two leave like that, Sun Ho-chang's face turned green. Insolent brat, how dare you ruin my plans and act so cocky? In 4 days, you will be dying at Shoagon City. After Li Jingwen left the mountain, he immediately stopped and gave the blue wind herbs to Yi Mo. He didn't ask Yi Mo to give him anything in return as insurance or anything, and just left Yi Mo to concoct the pills. He simply arranged to meet up with Yi Mo 4 days later in Shoagon City and left. Seeing him leave, Yi Mo sighed. Li Jingwen was nice and trusted people easily, but he wasn't really an idiot. Or else he wouldn't use the excuse of trying to trade his herbs at the gathering to ask for his herbs back. No one who had cultivated to the golden core state tertiary stage was dumb. Li Jingwen's character was just much better than ordinary cultivators. But once it involved his interests, Yi Mo believed this man would surely have a way to retaliate. Although Sun Ho-chang took back his herbs easily if Yi Mo couldn't provide him the blue wind pills at the latest a month later, he wouldn't end well. The reason why he trusted Yi Mo was because he gave a spirit recovery pill to Su Jingwen and didn't even care. Compared to the spirit recovery pill, the blue wind pill was nothing. That night, Yi Mo arrived at Ganshua City. It was tens of thousands of kilometers from Jiangchuan. But Yi Mo finally found out why the cities around there were so arid in spirit chi. There was a level 6 spirit gathering formation here. This high-level formation required supreme means and top-quality materials. With such a powerful spirit gathering formation around, of course the spirit chi from the area would get sucked over. The spirit chi here, however, was almost as good as in Broken Leaf City. But without a spirit range, Ganshua City, would become like Jiangchuan City eventually. Yi Mo found a hotel to settle down Su Jingwen before starting to concoct the blue Wen pill. Li Jingwen had only given the 2 blue Wen herbs to Yi Mo. He didn't provide any supplementary herbs, but Yi Mo didn't really mind. Li Jingwen had helped him. Furthermore, Yi Mo had too many blue Wen herbs and more than 100 blue Wen pills. The herbs he got weren't very aged, but he still made 12 blue Wen pills in 2 tries. They were all special grade pills. Yi Mo put them in a bottle and started organizing his loot. He had obtained multiple golden core state storage rings from the all-herb mountain ranges, but there wasn't anything really good inside. Fei Zijiang's storage ring had a level 7 water mobility rune and the stone stool. It was exactly the same as the one he got from Tianze. The 2 stools resonated with each other. Yi Mo didn't know how Fei Zijiang could have the stone stool, but he knew it wasn't ordinary. Tianze was no ordinary old man. Yi Mo put them inside the golden page world and started counting his spirit stones. He had more than one. 7 million top-grade spirit stones, more than 5 million middle-grade spirit stones, and more than 4 million low-grade spirit stones. 3 days passed by quickly, and Yi Mo didn't go anywhere. He was studying the Tianhua pill. As for Su Jingwen, she was sleeping most of the time. When Yi Mo carried Su Jingwen on his back to the location of the gathering, Miao Xiang Tower, Li Jingwen was already waiting for him. Chapter 963. I'll take it. Chapter 963. I'll take it. Li Jingwen saw Yi Mo look over and put on a joyous face, but Yi Mo could see a sliver of unease in his eyes. Clearly, although he gave the 2 herbs to Yi Mo quickly, he still had some worry in the depth of his heart. After all, he had only seen Yi Mo once. Despite Li Jingwen not asking him about it, Yi Mo still gave him a jade bottle and said, "The pill's ready. Have a look." Li Jingwen heard this and his hands shook. He really couldn't find a level 7 spirit pill master anywhere, and thus took this gamble. He didn't think he would really get a bottle of blue Wen pill. Even though he was golden core state level 7, he still couldn't control his excitement. He carefully took the jade bottle and opened it. Inside were 12 special grade blue Wen pills. Li Jingwen felt dazed for a moment and reacted, "I don't need that much. The supplementary herbs were supplied by you. You only need to give me 4 or 5. Although Li Jingwen knew Yi Mo might be a level 7 spirit pill master, he didn't have much hope, but clearly he trusted Yi Mo more than Sun Haocheng. Even so, he would be very happy if he got 2 pills back. Yi Mo waved his hand. "You trusted me to concoct pills for you. Plus, you've helped me as well. Although the blue Wen pills are precious, I don't really care." Yi Mo knew that Li Jingwen probably could tell he wasn't poor, so he didn't need to act poor. Li Jingwen thought for a moment and knew Yi Mo was telling the truth. He said gratefully, "In that case, I'll be taking advantage of you this time. If you need me in the future, I will help for sure." Yi Mo's impression of Li Jingwen was getting better and better. He intentionally said those things, but Li Jingwen didn't seem like he intended to rob him at all. Many people would think of ways to rob another cultivator who was weaker than them, but had more valuables. Li Jingwen's eyes didn't even flutter after learning Yi Mo was wealthy. He was truly an honest person. Wait, this is special grade. Li Jingwen thought of something and opened the bottle again. He looked at Yi Mo in shock. "You're a pill." Li Jingwen realized he was at least a level 1 pill king. Yi Mo knew Li Jingwen was going to say pill king, but he waved his hand and stopped him. "You just need to know yourself brotherly. If you need help in the future, just ask me." Li Jingwen was shook. He didn't think that a random person he met would turn out to be a pill king, and such a young one at that. He could also concoct the spirit recovery pill. Didn't this mean that he was at least a level 3 pill king? Such a young level 3 pill king? Li Jingwen suddenly realized that this person wasn't MOing. He was Yi Mo, the number 1 of the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame. Who else could he be? You're from the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame, Li Jingwen realized, and started to voice this thought. How could Yi Mo let him? He quickly cut him off by interjecting, "Yes, Brother Li, sorry for hiding this from you before. I had no choice." Li Jingwen heard this and knew his guess was correct, his eyes reflecting more surprise and joy. It was like a heavenly gift for him to know a pill king. As they spoke, a few more Golden Core State cultivators arrived. One of them knew Li Jingwen and greeted him. Li Jingwen was originally planning to help Yi Mo get the Dulan Chun Xiao no matter what, but since he knew Yi Mo was the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame number 1, he knew why Yi Mo was so wealthy. He would need his help. Miao Xiang Tower was a brothel. The female cultivators here were all experienced in the art of dual cultivation. But today, the Golden Core State cultivators weren't here for the girls, they were here for the social. So, excepting a few, the cultivators didn't need female company. Yi Mo carried a woman on his back, so no female cultivator went up to solicit him. "Brother Li, you're here earlier than me," Sun Ho Chang said. Li Jingwen had already got his blue wind pill and would have left if he wasn't here to accompany Yi Mo. So he just casually replied to Sun Ho Chang's words. Sun Ho Chang's face was unsightly. He scanned Yi Mo coldly and made up his mind that no matter what this person wanted, he would buy it first, and he wouldn't mind killing this cultivator if he got the chance. As for the beautiful woman on his back, if she could recover, she could become a female disciple to serve him. If not, he would just kill her as well. The social was held in a bright and clean hall. When Yi Mo and Li Jingwen entered, there were already 40 people present. Yi Mo sat in one corner with Su Jingwen. Li Jingwen sat not far from Yi Mo. Sun Ho Chang intentionally sat opposite to Yi Mo. In his mind, he would show this Golden Core State primary stage that there were some people he couldn't afford to offend. 15 minutes later, 53 Golden Core State cultivators sat in the hall. After the door closed, Yi Mo found that other than the female waiters, he was the weakest one there. The weakest cultivator besides him was a Golden Core State level 4, but Yi Mo didn't mind. His power had greatly increased, and he had mastered the purple Eye Soul Sever level 1. He wasn't afraid of anyone here even before he had learned it, but now he was confident in killing Golden Core State Peak Stage. Seeing that Yi Mo, a mere Golden Core State level 2, dared to come to a high-level Golden Core State social, many people were shocked. Seeing that he came along with Li Jingwen, though, they understood that this Golden Core State level 2 was being protected by him. However, Li Jingwen was only Golden Core State level 7 himself. Seeing that all the cultivators were here, a Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator got up and said, "This is a social within our small region. Most of you people here are solo cultivators. The purpose of the social, as you all know, is for us to get what we need the most. Okay, let's cut the bullshit. I'll start." Then the cultivator took out a palm-sized ship and began, "This is a top-grade flying spirit artifact. I hardly need to explain its value. It uses small spirit stones and is very fast. It also has a very special property, stealth." Yi Mo saw this and was interested. Ever since his flying pipe broke, he hadn't gotten a flying magic artifact. The ones he got from the Golden Core State storage rings were very low grade. Even his Zisu was better. This cultivator scanned the excited cultivators and continued, "I didn't want to sell this, but I've been stuck in Golden Core State for too long, so I want to trade for a Chow Huan pill or similar pill." People in the room were immediately disappointed. How precious was the Chow Huan pill? It was the most important pill for Golden Core State cultivators. No one would be dumb enough to trade a Chow Huan pill for this. "Dao Friend Jia, your flying spirit artifact is precious, but it's not worth a Chow Huan pill. Plus, it has close to no defense abilities. This greatly diminishes its value, a Golden Core State Level 9 pointed out. The Golden Core State Peak stage felt a little awkward. He knew that it wasn't worth the pill, but he wanted to test his luck. I'll offer 200k top-grade spirit stones and 1 low-grade flying spirit artifact, a voice suddenly said. The cultivator shook his head and responded, I don't need spirit stones. I need pills or herbs helpful to me. Plus, this price is far from what I wanted. No one made a bid. Everyone wanted the flying spirit artifact, but the price was absurd. Yi Mo had the Chow Huan pill, but taking it out here it would be tantamount to suicide. But he still had a lot of good things. Does any friend want to trade for this? The cultivator asked. If not, then bring out the next item. I'll take the flying spirit artifact. A voice suddenly sounded out, catching everyone's attention. Chapter 964. Whole scene envious. Chapter 964. Whole scene envious. Everyone looked at the cultivator, who made the bid. When everyone saw it was just a Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator, they were all dazed. This was a joke. There were 53 Golden Core State cultivators present, and this Golden Core State Level 2 fellow was the weakest. When everyone else couldn't afford it, this cultivator said he was going to take it. Brother Mo, Li Jingwen reminded Yi Mo worriedly. Although this was a private small gathering, if you messed around, people would still punish you. Not only would you not be allowed to make any more bids, you would even have to give compensation to the other party. This compensation purely depended on the person's mood. If they were in a bad mood and made you hand over your storage ring, you had no choice but do so. You were allowed to make a bid on anything you wanted, but your bid had to be at least similar to what the other requested. If the difference was too huge, then it was considered messing around. How could a Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator have something that matched a top-grade flying spirit artifact? Sun Ho-chang was surprised but quickly reacted. This Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator didn't know the rules of the gathering and wanted whatever he liked. The time for him to suffer was coming. Now, he was even grateful that Li Jingwen had brought over Yi Mo. That Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator was originally happy when he heard someone make a bid, but when he realized it was a Golden Core State Level 2 cultivator, his face sunk. This cultivator was too young, and his face didn't make him think of anyone special. Clearly, it was his first time here. Dao friend, do you know what the consequences are if you can't take out something I'm happy with? The cultivator said with an unhappy voice. Yi Mo didn't know what the consequences were, but he was no idiot. These sort of small gatherings cared about credibility the most. It would be no good for him to lie. When everyone looked at him, he said calmly, I can't take out the Chow Huan pill dash. Then that means you're here to play with me. The cultivator, who was called Jia, had his voice turn cold. He was ready to fight Yi Mo if Yi Mo had nothing reasonable to say. Brother Jia, calm down. Let's see his bid first. If you're not happy with it, then you can speak, an ordinary-looking woman said. She was in her 40s at Golden Core State Level 9. Yi Mo nodded to her in gratitude. Hee. Big Sister Lien, you must not have had a young guy in a while. Another Golden Core State Level 9 cultivator laughed. Big Sister Lien's face went cold. Guan Sinping, what's that got to do with you? Even if you let me use your matchstick, I wouldn't be interested in using it. Perhaps this struck him where it hurt. Guan Sinping grunted and didn't look too happy. Yi Mo didn't wait for anyone else to say anything else and took out a crisp green vine. It was a level 6 herb. Yi Mo had gotten it from the Mist Valley. It had two main functions. One was to be used in making the Soul Gathering Pill. The Soul Gathering Pill could increase a Golden Core State Peak Stage's chances of reaching the nascent soul state. The effects weren't as big as the Chow Huan pill, but it was still a heaven grade level 1 pill. Its other important function was to make the nascent soul state pill. That was a pill nascent soul state cultivators could use in their cultivation. But rarely anyone used it for the second purpose, as it was too much of a waste. A crisp green vine. The cultivator looked clearly at what was in Yimo's hand, and he jumped. This was the thing he wanted. If there was no Chow Huan fruit, the crisp green vine was the best option for him. A crisp green vine. Most of the other golden core state tertiary stage cultivators opened their eyes wide, staring at the crisp green vine. This to them was much more important than some flying spirit artifact. If they found a pill king to help them concoct pills with it, they could get 1 to 2 soul-gathering pill out of it. A soul-gathering pill's temptation was irresistible to those golden core state peak stage cultivators. The Jia cultivator really wanted Yimo's crisp green vine, but he felt like using 1 crisp green vine to trade for his top-grade flying spirit artifact was a bit unbalanced. After all, it had to be made into a pill first. If the concoction failed, he would get nothing. I need this indeed, but you've only got 1 herb. If you had 2, the Jia cultivator stated his problem. Jiarenjiu, if you don't want it, I'll take it. Friend, I have a top-grade spirit artifact. It's not a flying spirit artifact, but it's a rare, offensive spirit artifact. Another golden core state peak stage cultivator stood out and said he couldn't care about rules anymore. This involved the possibility of him reaching the nascent soul state. He might never get to see a second crisp green vine in his life. Jean Sure, are you going to obey the rules or not? I'm the one offering a trade right now. It's not your turn yet. How can you intervene? The Jia cultivator roared in anger. The golden core state peak stage cultivator laughed and didn't say anything. He had reached his goal already. If Yi Mo wanted his top-grade offensive spirit artifact, then he wouldn't trade with the Jia fellow. However, Yi Mo already had Zisu and didn't care about attack spirit artifacts. He just wanted a flying spirit artifact. He understood the Jia cultivator's hesitation. Perhaps if he persisted for a bit longer, he would eventually trade it, but Yi Mo didn't have the mood to be petty about little things, so he took out a spirit crystal and said, I've only got 1 crisp green vine, but I'll add a spirit crystal. I think that's about the same worth as what you wanted. Seeing how crazy these golden core state cultivators were for the crisp green vine, he felt lucky he didn't take out the Chow Huan pill. Even for the crisp green vine, he could only allow himself to take out 1 despite having more than 20. A spirit crystal? Oh, okay, I'll trade it. Jia Juren threw the top-grade flying spirit artifact to Yi Mo. Yi Mo confirmed it and gave the spirit crystal and crisp green vine to Jia Juren. The first deal ended like that. No one expected that the first exchange would involve such good things. After the first deal, every cultivator looked at Yi Mo fervently. Who knows what other good things he had? Sun Hochong regretted very much that he didn't try harder to have Yi Mo stay a few days earlier. If he had taken out Yi Mo, these things would all be his. Now that this golden core state level 2 cultivator had exposed so many good things, his life would already be reserved for other people. Li Jingwen dazed upon seeing this and soon knew Yi Mo would be in a predicament. The things he took out didn't match his power. If he was a golden core state peak stage cultivator, then it would be more reasonable for him to take out such things. He frowned, but still decided to help Yi Mo. It's my turn. I have a spirit grade level 6 cultivation method. It's an escape type secret technique. Once you activate it, not even nascent soul state cultivators can catch up to you. However, it can save your life, but it does use some essence blood. The second cultivator got up. He looked honest, but Yi Mo knew one couldn't judge people by their looks. Fei Zizheng looked more honest than anyone, yet he was very cocky. Everyone understood this was a blood escape type secret technique. It was equally valuable as a top-grade spirit flying artifact. Many people who didn't have escape means were interested in this escape technique. This cultivator then looked at Yi Mo and continued, I want to trade it for a half-step extreme grade attack magic artifact. I don't mind the type. Of course, if there's things like the crisp green vine, I'm willing to trade too. Perhaps EMO would be interested in this if he didn't have the 5-element mobility technique, but now he really wasn't interested in this spirit grade mobility technique. After all, the 5-element mobility technique was heaven grade. Seeing that Yi Mo didn't reply, this cultivator looked at the others in disappointment and continued, "If any of you have something I'm interested in, I can also trade it." You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.